Okay. Morning, everyone. This September 20th, 2017 meeting of the City Council is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded as well as presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2 and are closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers. Please note customers of CenturyLink and Cox Communication may view this program in high definition on channel 1002. The council meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, may be viewed on the internet at www.kclv.tv/live. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV Channel 2 and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m., Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 5 p.m. This building is protected by state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler systems. If alarms should activate during today's meeting, please evacuate using the exit to the back of the chambers, go out to the mezzanine. Proceed out the double doors to the terrace and go down the back staircase. For anyone who has difficulty with stairs, be sure to check with a marshal or fire official for assistance. Once outside, assemble on the northeast corner across the street from City Hall at Lewis and First Streets. Employees wearing safety vests or city marshals will inform you when it's safe to re-enter the building. For public comment related to items on the agenda, citizen participation in public hearing items, we have available a speaker card which you may complete and submit to the city clerk. Cards are available online, the clerk's office at the rear of these chambers. If you do not submit a card, it does not prevent you from speaking under public comment, citizen participation, or specified public hearing items. If anyone's present today who has need for hearing impaired equipment, please come forward and see our city clerk up front. If you parked in the parking garage across the street, be sure to have your tickets validated by our security officers when exiting. And before we proceed with the agenda, would everyone please rise for the invocation given by Reverend Charlotte Faust, Community Spiritual Center, and remain standing for our pledge of allegiance. Good morning.
Infinite Mind, Divine Creator, we have come together once again to do the work of our community. Leaders, volunteers, and citizens gathered to celebrate our successes, speak our concerns, and understand the ever-changing needs we face. Grant that we may not only have open eyes to see and ears to hear, but open hearts to feel and minds to understand. Our city is unique. Our diversity is our strength. We give thanks for those with the ideas, the willing hands to do the work, and the abundance to accomplish our goals, that together we may rise as a stronger community. And all the earth's children say, Amen.
You did remember the words. You did. All right, we will proceed with our
This is a first.
You're the first one down here. I'm going to give you an A+.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the first time you've ever been first.
Oh, thank you. I'll try to do that.
No, it's more, I'm really
Could I have an
very
apple?
proud.
Could I have an
You can have an apple. I know you were pushing him, that's why. Okay, oh my. You know, it seems that the world, and certainly our hemisphere, has been in such line of disaster, and I know we're all so sensitive what's going on down in Mexico City. And so far, over 250 have lost their lives. And the path of Maria is right there in the heart of Puerto Rico. And every day we wake up and we get so concerned with the small, petty little things. And how lucky we are to be living here where every day sky's blue and we have a little wind or something else, or your power goes out for an hour or two. And you think of really all these people caught in the disasters around our country. I know we're all sending our prayers and our best wishes. And just know City Council is really devastated by these losses and the tragedies that everybody's enduring while we have the appetite to go on and do what we do. So it's just a very sad time. But for those of us who are here and everybody, and we have our head of our emergency management here, Carolyn Levering, and friends, staff. I know the call, we've had a lot of people go down into Texas and Florida to help where they can. So many of you have been so generous financially. But again, to make sure if you're doing something or sending money, make sure it's a reputable place. There's so many nasty scammers out there. So double check. You have any question, call your council people for advice, please. Their lines are all on our website. Or call the Fusion Center, call Metro, call Mrs. Levering in emergency management, or anybody here. So anyway, we really send full support. So this is our ceremonial portion of the agenda, and for the first time I'd like to I'm going to invent you. Our Cultural Affairs Director, Allie Haynes Hamlin. Watch this magic. Come on up, Allie, wherever you are. Here she comes. I'm inventing her. I am inviting you up here. How many months you been with us now?
8 months.
8 months. It's wonderful, and she's doing such great things. Our employees strive to be superheroes, as you know, in the workplace, meeting our action values, which stands for achievement, creativity, teamwork, integrity, and ownership now. They build our community to make life better. And today I'm so proud to announce that the Employee of the Month is Jeff Basso. Jeff, come on down. Yay. What an outstanding employee, and I know he's ready to run. Hold up a leg. Can you hold up a leg? What are they? Adidas, Keds? What do you got?
Converse, Chuck Taylors.
All right, so he's well paid. Those are very expensive. Okay, enough of that. They are running shoes. Okay, so let's talk about Jeff, who looks so good. Is that part of the requirement in your department? Okay. Jeff's an outstanding employee for our cultural affairs team and is responsible for this room. He's a senior production, that's why he's got the sneaks on, because you're going to hear. He's a senior production technician, and whenever city council chambers are in use, you may find him in the back corner, or corners, that one or that one. That's his purse right there. Making sure things are running smoothly. He's in charge of running everything from our PowerPoint presentations to the audio system. So you're the one if this goes down, or somebody, you're it. Okay. Sometimes city council meetings are long, yes, but Jeff ensures that we do not have any technical breakdowns to further slow the process. He also plays a key role during the State of the City address, where he works with the Office of Communications to make sure videos and slides are displayed at the right time during the speech that is broadcast live. And believe me, that is an undertaking. Thank you. I'm sure you lost your hair because of it. He does have a good sense of humor, and I'm allowed to tease him. Okay, recently, Jeff showed his abilities to remain calm and find a solution to a really stressful situation as we got ready to present Councilman Ricky Barlow's recent teen hall meeting, which he does often. The computer program that is used to allow students in the audience to see their tweets as they happen on the screens up here in city chambers, the system broke down and wasn't working. Even though the system is not Jeff's responsibility, he quickly found a solution, and the town hall continued with no one knowing that a major part of the event had malfunctioned. Jeff is a true champion of someone behind the scenes, making sure that everyone in the spotlight puts his or her best foot forward. We are so grateful for that. And we thank you for all that you do. And it's with great pride that we announce that you are our Citizen of the Month for September. Is it maybe your birthday month?
No,
June. He already did that. Okay. To your left, you will see a sign with your name on it. We'll have some pictures taken there, which will be posted on Main Street in front of City Hall for a month. And I know, Allie, you'd like to say a few words before Jeff, it's your turn, but I just love those.
Thank you, Mayor.
They are, Mayor.
Thank you so much. You know, our production crew often tells me that their work is behind the scenes. And if anyone notices them or becomes aware of their presence in the work that they're not doing their job correctly. While this may be true in the course of an event or a performance, I'm really pleased to stop and take this opportunity to notice the work that Jeff is doing so well. Makes us all look really good. Congratulations, Jeff.
You know, we're planning this next year's 2018 State of the City address. So really need your input on that, and your good hands. So how about a few words? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. Very appreciated. I'm very honored to be up here, very humbled to be up here. It's pretty awesome. You know, as we talked about up on my perch back there, I get to see a lot of events, and I'm a part of a lot of projects that come through here. And I see every city council meeting every month, twice a month. And I get to see every employee of the month that comes up here before me, and I get to listen to their wonderful speeches. And over time, I kind of hear kind of a theme, a thread that kind of ties all of them together. And that is when they're up here, invariably, or at least seemingly invariably, that they all thank a lot of people. A lot of people. And I'm certainly no different. From the people that I work in here with, from the city clerk's office, headed by Luann Holmes. They're just wonderful to work with. We always are amazed at how short and concise meetings are in here. But they are a vital instrument into what happens here, and I love working with them. To the Office of Communications, I work with them often, as you heard, like in teen town halls. They're always throwing stuff at me. David Riggleman, hi, David. And I love the challenge. You know, Jeff, we want to try this. Can you do it? I don't know. Let's try it. So, and thank you to Jason Jen for the nomination. Highly appreciated that. And within the Office of Communications, we have our television station, KCLV, headed by Mark Rosenberg. And we work arm in arm often on many events. And always great to be on the same page as them. A very efficient crew. They want everything to run without a hitch, and it's wonderful to work with them as well. All my friends in IT, headed by Michael Sherwood. They are invaluable to me here in this room, especially with the technical aspect that goes on. I can really lean on them. Peter Rosado always has my back. The guys and gals that work there are a tremendous asset to me, so I know they're an asset to the city as well. And then, of course, my hometown, my home crew of OCA, Office of Cultural Affairs, with our wonderful new director, Allie Double H. Wonderful from the get-go when you came in 8 months ago. Always have an open door, always listening, highly appreciated. My manager, Robin McCartney, all my production crew back there, Raj, Dave, Danny, Robert, thank you so much. And it's just, I know I'm forgetting a lot of names because there are a lot of people that I get to work with every year. It's pretty awesome, and that is really cool. So I think it's a wonderful testament to what we try to push here in terms of teamwork, because I know it's wonderful to come in every day and to lean on and rely on people who are down for the cause. And a little over 10 years here. And of course, I'd like to thank my family over there, my wonderful wife, Jen. That's my youngest daughter, Hayden. That's yawning over there, my son, Asher. My oldest daughter couldn't be here. She's away at college, but hi, Genevieve. And with that, very happy to be here, very humbled, very honored, and I think this is amazing, and I thank all of you for it. Thank you so much.
Proud of you. And to your family, because we know everything. If you are the bright light in your family, among your children and your wife, that, I mean, it really is wonderful to have someone who's so articulate, who's been with us 10 whole years. And really, I think you continue to like what you do from the sound of it. And guess what? Every single name he mentioned, there wasn't one flaw. I know maybe he missed saying something about Shane, who I see there in his turquoise tie. But for everybody that works with Jeff, we're so grateful. We're grateful for everything you do. So we'll go get a picture over here. And then the second picture we could do with your family, maybe. How's that? First family, just you with the council and Allie. And then the second one, bring your family up, okay? So let's go around the sign.
Thanks for fixing the audio up there for us. I'm telling you.
Let me get some good luck chips. Okay. Beautiful. Congratulations. Thank you. And thank you for recommending him. We're just so grateful. He's ready for school. Ready. Mr. Riggleman, you know the opening screen, not the one that's here, but the opening one that shoots the whole city of Las Vegas? That we had on our monitors up there that opens city council, that shows at nighttime all of the city. That's a magnificent shot. I don't know who did it, but it really, on brochures and things that we do for the city, that nighttime shot. Shane, is it yours, wherever you are? Is that your shot? He'll take the praise. It's a great shot. I mean, I'd love to see that on brochures and things as we go out for the city, because it really shows, and people will say, oh my gosh, that's Las Vegas and the Strip. No, 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 it's just the city part. It's awesome. Okay, enough of me. For our next item, I'd like to invite, here I go again, Deputy District Attorney James Sweeten to join us at the podium. James, there he is. Good morning. Your shoes are regular shoes, not for running. That's okay. No. Jeff has to run. James is the Special Victims Unit Chief with the District Attorney's Office. He works with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department's Sexual Assault Juvenile Team to help safeguard our community. This law enforcement team is the lead law enforcement agency located at the Southern Nevada Child Assessment Center. The center is a one-stop location for helping sexual abuse victims and their families. The Sexual Assault Juvenile Team partners with Child Protective Services, investigators, medical professionals, forensics, interviewers, and more to help these victims. This team cares about the children of our community, and many times they are the only ones standing up and speaking for these victims. This is a dedicated group of detectives putting in long hours to arrest and prosecute sexual predators. I believe that Metropolitan Police Lieutenant David Valenta and his team have joined us here today, and I would like them to stand so we can give them a round of applause as well. Would you please stand? Thank you. Whatever we can do at any time to help. And so now I'd like to turn the microphone over to you, Deputy District Attorney, to tell us more about the efforts of this public safety officer. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor Goodman, distinguished members of the City Council. I'm, as the Mayor indicated, James Sweeten. I'm currently in charge of the Special Victims Unit at the Clark County DA's office, and I feel thankful and very honored to be able to be a part of this presentation to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Sexual Assault Juvenile Team. Now, as a member of the Special Victims Unit of the District Attorney's Office, I've had the opportunity to work with each and every one of these honorees. I have seen firsthand the dedication and the skill of these law enforcement officers. Now, criminal cases develop on their own timetable. And it's not unusual to know that each of these detectives are working late into the night, putting these cases together as we relax home at night with our families. Them not resting until time-sensitive evidence has been gathered and young victims are protected and cared for. Their work goes far beyond, I would submit to you, the responsibilities that we would normally expect a police officer to carry. I know them, and I would submit to you that they do it for the children. Sadly, I'm talking about the many young victims of sexual abuse in our own community. Now, the voice of these officers is sometimes the first voice to provide comfort and safety for these abused children that we come in contact with. Now, they do it with the guidance of Sergeant Merges, as has been mentioned, and Lieutenant Valenta. Sergeant Merges has been instrumental in integrating this elite squad into a multidisciplinary approach to the investigation of sexually motivated crimes committed upon our children. Through this and his detectives' work, the Southern Nevada Children's Assessment Center has become a staple and a model for the investigation of these cases in Nevada. This elite squad works with, as indicated, victim advocates, forensic interviewers, medical professionals, mental health professionals, child protective services representative, and the district attorney's office, all under one roof at the SNCAC to coordinate the most thorough, professional, and complete investigation possible, with a focus, and this is the major focus, on the needs and the well-being of the young victims in these cases. Child victims are no longer interviewed multiple times or their families required to take them to multiple places for various reasons, all while they receive a variety of explanations of the process they're going through. Now everything is coordinated, and with one of the highest goals being to keep the victim and their family informed and healthy through what is probably the most traumatic event they'll go through in their entire lives. Now, I remind you that this coordinated effort that we've spoken of was done with very little additional public funding. Resources are short. The engine for this work grew out of the desire of these officers and others associated with them to do more than they were asked. Local citizens, and I see some of them today, Guard Jameson certainly being one of them, was there and reached out and helped the SNCAC as it started and began to grow. Sergeant Merges has also been instrumental in reaching out to past and new supporters of these efforts, including our other community leaders who have recently formed the SNCAC Foundation to support the SNCAC and provide much needed funding to help it grow to meet the needs of our growing community. And I think, put more simply, to be there for our community's children. All of this would be for naught, however, if it weren't for the dedication of these elite officers, and I'm proud to be associated with them. As I look out, Lieutenant Dave Valenta, Sergeant Phil Merges, Detective Stephen Balanek, Detective Rachel Calderon, Detective Walt Detweiler, Detective Jessica Heredia, Detective Anya Highsmith, Detective Denise Huth, Detective James Milligan, and Detective Arturo Martinez. I would submit to you they are truly heroes in our community, and I'm so thankful for them. Thank you all.
And don't go away yet. And Lieutenant Valenta, could you come on down, please, too, because today we are so grateful to you and your whole team. And certainly seeing Mr. Jameson here and Ms. Murray, knowing what they've been doing to find funding and helping support the actions and endeavors of all of this colleague group of collegial group of officers you have working with you. We thank you all. And so since most of the information is included in the comments that we've made, I just want to add that this proclamation is being given to you both. We're going to tear it in half, but the reality is we are proclaiming September 20th, 2017 is LVMPD Sexual Assault Juvenile Team Day here in the city of Las Vegas, as we recognize and thank you, men and women, of your esteemed detail for the work you've done on behalf of young people in our community. Las Vegas thanks you for your most important work that makes such a huge difference. And so today is your day, and I grow another arm, but let me, if I could, and flip it around so that Shane can see that, and we thank you. Thank you so much. Thank each one of you so much, and thank you. What a collaborative effort this is, and we're just thrilled to death. Thank you, team. Those are beautiful kids. Thank you.
There's a lot going on it. I'd love to talk to you.
Well, and it's getting small.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you, Julian Guard. Thank you, thank you. And now I would like to turn the microphone over to Councilman Coffin, who's going to celebrate a special month here. There you are.
I'm honored. Thank you very much, Mayor. First of all, most people know that September is the month of the year in which Latino people, Hispanic people, Chicano, all people with some Latin blood celebrate this month, because this is more important than Cinco de Mayo. This is about the liberation from the last colonial powers. And so it is really something so important that different countries celebrate it on different days, virtually all in the month of September, because sometimes it took days and days for a packet steamer or boat to get the word down to the south of Mexico that in fact the colonials had finally surrendered said goodbye. So people celebrate it on different days. Commonly, September 15th, and Mexican Patriotic Committee is here representing Mexico. We have chosen this year to represent all of the countries of Latin America. I just want to say that there's more than people understand about the Mexican people, particularly. Some people don't understand. When they see the Mexican on the telenovela and the Mexican politician and the Mexican wealthy business member, and you look at them and they're all pretty much, very much white, European. And then you look around and you realize that there are a heck of a lot more people who look a little browner, and maybe they're a little shorter and stockier in their build. And they are truly the descendants of the indigenous people who were in this continent 12 to 20,000 years ago. So I always like to remind folks this little history lesson about many of them were here long before those who consider them immigrants and invaders. That in fact it is their country, it is their land which we now occupy. And so always be sensitive to that. And frankly, the Indio people are the ones who do not hold those high offices. They don't progress in Mexico and in Latin America in most countries, like the European-based descendants. So keep that in mind. It is not one culture, not one word describes all of Latin America and the Hispanics and specifically the Mexicans. But now today we have with us the Mexican Patriotic Committee, and I'd like to have you come forward and join us up here at the podium. All of you on the committee who are here today, Delinda Torres, who is the president, Manuel Duarte, the secretary, Mary Carmen Guillen, Carlos Feliz, Sotero Flores, and any others that are on the board, perhaps whose name I missed. I'd like very much to have you come up and join us. This proclamation is created by our staff, but it's a strike. It has some striking numbers in it, folks. Many people don't know that, I think the Latin American community was only about 7% of the local population 35 years ago, just 7%. And now it's 30%. And in some parts of the valley, my ward, it's 66%. Even in Ward 6 of the far northwest, it's 18%. So there's 203,000 people of Latino, Hispanic descent living in the city limits of Las Vegas. That's 1/3 of our population. Building Las Vegas, servicing Las Vegas, creating Las Vegas, major players in small business and some in the big businesses, but primarily they are the backbone of the small business community in Las Vegas. You know, anybody with a cart is in business for themselves. They take great pride in that. They're not working for somebody else. They're working for themselves, and their entire capital is at risk. So no matter whether it's a glorious job or a job on the pavement with wheels, and you are the borough, it nevertheless means something to everybody in this culture. And they are part of our culture now. We are beginning to blend, and I think that it is, granted, the population changes were sudden, in a sense, in 30 years, that's fast. But it means that everybody has to get along, and everybody has to understand that's the way it will be in the future. And I think we're much stronger for it. Thank you. So I would like to present this to you, this proclamation signed by the mayor and the council. Truly glad you're here. Have a few words to say to us, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at the city of Las Vegas for this ceremony. And I want to say thanks to Bob Coffin, Mr. Bob Coffin, and Felipe Ortiz for always supporting our organization, Mexican Patriotic Committee. Our goal is to keep supporting our community. Thanks, Mr. Bob Coffin. God bless you.
Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for representing the committee so well. In memory of Eddie Escobedo, who was the prime force, and for many, many years was the person, the front of all of it, the face, the energy. You know, he had a newspaper, now owned by his son, Eddie Escobedo Jr. But in any event, there's a great tradition here, 37 years old. All right, thank you very much for being with us today. We're honored. And let's all get a picture with the council members. Can we do that? Okay, I'll give the microphone back to the mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Radke, can we move our podium? Well, maybe we could just, well, no, we want to be under the seal. Perfect. Thank you. Can we come all closer together if we can? Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you very, very much for coming, and congratulations. We appreciate everything that you do. You are our family, so wonderful, wonderful to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And again, see, I love this. Beautiful. No, your community is our community. We're one people here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Radke. Okay. All right, I think for our next item, Councilman Anthony, you're up. How was the food? Great success out at the...
Record turnout at the Greek Food Festival. Absolutely awesome.
Great.
Yep. Okay, the Department of Homeland Security has designated September as National Preparedness Month across the United States. National Preparedness Month focuses on family emergency preparedness and encourages Americans to take simple steps to prepare for emergencies in their homes, in their businesses, or in their schools. In the event of a natural disaster, large-scale emergency, or a terrorist attack, America's first line of defense is provided by our first responders, including our police officers, our firefighters, our emergency medical professionals, and citizens who, when properly trained and equipped, have the greatest potential to save lives and limit casualties. The City of Las Vegas has taken the lead in Southern Nevada in organizing training such as the Community Emergency Response Team program, which provides training, equipment, and emergency supplies to citizens. The City of Las Vegas Office of Emergency Management and its regional partners have made public education a major focus, with an emphasis on ensuring everyone becomes prepared for a minimum of 3 days. At this point, I'd like to ask our expert, our emergency manager for the City of Las Vegas, Karen Levering, to come up and tell us about September and who all these other folks that have come up with her, and tell us about emergency preparedness.
Oh, thank you, Councilman. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And to our mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and council members. This is National Preparedness Month, and anytime I come up here and have an opportunity to share a little tidbit of information with our community, I try to keep it brief. This month, I'd like to promote our preparedness application. It's something that you can download for free on your phone. It looks just like this on your screen. Right? Southern Nevada Emergency Preparedness app. We have over 3,300 downloads already. This application actually has some tools to help you build your own family emergency response plan, some information about the hazards in our community. As the mayor mentioned this morning, so many tragedies so recently with the earthquakes, with the hurricanes, so many lives lost, so much destruction and damage all over the world. It's tragic. And we can face our own tragedies here in Nevada with the hazards that we have. So get educated, make a kit, make a plan, be informed about emergencies in our community. And I just want to recognize my emergency management team here. They work so hard every day to help prepare the community for emergencies, providing education, training, information to the media, to the public, and working on plans and training and exercises with our first responders, police and fire and medical, our hospitals, our public health. All of them are part of a big team to help our community stay protected. So thank you for recognizing our team and our efforts this month. Very much appreciated. Everybody, please download the app. Some great information on there, and it's there for you for free, so we'd like to see you use those tools. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Again, if there is a major catastrophe in Nevada, we got some great police officers that are going to be at the front line. We have some firefighters that are going to be out there. We have trained civilians that are going to be out there, but the rest of us need to be able to potentially take care of ourselves for 3 days. So you have to be ready to do that. So what is it that everybody needs to have in their home to last for 3 days? Can you talk about that? Just to remind everybody, I mean, you need a flashlight and batteries, and what's the rest of the stuff that you need?
Well, see, I was trying to keep it brief. I know you've got a big meeting today. Okay. Gosh, wow. So, you know, your emergency kit, of course, water, 1 gallon per person per day. And don't forget Fido, right? Your pets, your animals are part of your family as well. Flashlights and batteries, of course. Have a first aid kit available. Meals, there's lots of great different solutions for meals. If you do go the dehydrated food route, make sure you have extra water so that you can prepare those meals. And just some basic tools in your kit, a hammer, pliers, wrench, those types of things. Be able to turn off your gas, turn off your water if you need to. Prevent those kinds of emergencies in your home. And every family's different. If you have young ones, you might need some infant formula and diapers. If you're caring for some elderly folks, well, you might need diapers for them too. Medications, especially prescriptions, eyeglasses, batteries for hearing aids, all those kinds of things are important to include in your kit. Think about your family's individual needs when building your plan, but download the app. It has tools to help walk you through the things you need to be prepared. Have your paperwork ready too. Insurance documents, information about your utilities, any kinds of financial information that you need to keep copies of, all that should be part of your kit.
Great, okay. And that's why we do this in September and get to proclaim. I have a proclamation somewhere around here. There we go. Thank you. And signed by the mayor and the entire city council, proclaiming September, the month, as National Preparedness Month, just to remind all of us to take a couple of days and make sure we have our stuff in a pile somewhere in the house just in case something happens. So congratulations. Thank you for everything you do, and we're done.
Thank you. And Mrs. Levering, you know, for those of you who know what's going on around, unfortunately, our country with all of these disasters, you know your cell phone cannot charge if your power is out. So one of the things that I'm really concerned about, and on a monthly purchase of medicines, medications, you only can purchase a month at a time from your insurance. And I would like to take this opportunity to ask Mrs. Levering to please go ahead and contact the insurers in a global sense that for emergency preparedness that we all are going to be able to purchase an extra month's supply, which of course becomes outdated after 6 months or something. So you have to keep them up to date, use them, and then replace them. So I would like to see the city take a leadership role here to try to get that through our insurance providers, if you would. I think it's critical because I know the medicines that we have to take in our family are critical to sustaining life. And so if that's the case, you want that in your packet, and you want to make sure that you can get them and you don't, aren't charged exorbitant rates. So.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, that is a big concern, and it's one of the most frequently asked questions in our training programs is, what do I do about medications? For a lot of medications, you can ask your doctor for a sample pack, and oftentimes that comes into a 1-month supply. Using that sample pack as part of your rotation for your medication as it continues to be moved through is one thing. Controlled substances that are narcotic in nature are more difficult to come by and requires a little bit more discussion with a doctor in order to build up some sort of supply for that. It is a problem. Obviously, healthcare is a national debate at the moment, and that's certainly something we'd all like to be able to see. Even just planning to go out of town on a trip can be challenging. But I also recommend, for preparedness for medications, have your prescription with a national chain pharmacy. So if you are traveling or if there is an emergency disaster, they have your records on an electronic file, and it makes it a lot easier to refill during an emergency as well.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Okay, we will move. Oh, we wanted a picture. Okay, yes?
You got one?
Did you get it? Shane?
All right, here we go.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much. And I know our sexual assault group would like to come down and have a picture. So come on down. We'll move the podium away again. If we can do that, please. Thank you. Great. All right, where's Jace?
Jace is right there.
Who's there? Went the other way. He'll take
Are we taking the picture?
a picture with our sexual assault group. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so organize us. You know,
Shane, when you need it. Come on, Shane.
organize us, Shane, wherever you went. Oh, there you are. And Jace, may I give you a wrapped ice cream cone here? Thank you.
Mayor, you notice the women are up here ready to work.
All right, we are on agenda item 8. Okay. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. All comments made will be cross-referenced to those specific items, and if anyone submitted a speaker card who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda, please come to the podium and state your name for the record. This is your opportunity to address the council, but the council is not able to engage in dialogue or respond. We'll set the time at 1 minute. Seeing the flood of people coming to the microphone. Yes. Good morning, and if you'll state your name for the record, just so you can pull that microphone right to you.
Hi, my name's Janet Hurd. I'm from South Academic Center with Clark County School District, and I'd like to thank Mr. Councilman Barlow for kind of paying attention to our alternative kids in that division. Thank you, Mr. Barlow, and thank you, Mayor Goodman.
Thank you for coming by. We are just, he arrived just for your praise. See, I mean, that's perfect. It's a great way, I know, in the future, always, to make sure I praise him. Pardon? Yes, the students to stand and be. Oh, we have your students as well with you. Would you stand, please? Okay, Ms. Hurd, I'm going to ask you to name them from there. Please, first row first, then second.
First row, sitting next to me is Cece.
And raise your hand when you're announced, please.
Cece, Janine, DeJour, Deja, Essence, Jessica, and Tatiana.
Welcome. And all the ladies are in front, and I see the gentleman in back.
Okay.
And second row.
We've got Caden. Raise your hand, Caden. Dante, Mr. Massey, Albert, and Tommy.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay.
Welcome. And have a great school year. We appreciate it. Okay. Anyone else? We will then move on to agenda item 9. For possible action, any items that the council, staff, or applicant wish to be stricken, tabled, withdrawn, or held in abeyance to a future meeting may be brought forward and acted upon at this time. Mayor Pro Tem Tarkanian, please.
Yes, the items to be acted upon are item number 61, which was a discussion for possible action regarding the approval of a new compliance permit for a medical marijuana established license cultivation, Boulevard Medical LLC, doing business as Boulevard Medical LLC at 714 First Street. And they have an abeyance request from the applicant to October 18th, 2017. Secondly is item number 62, discussion for possible action regarding the approval of a new compliance permit for a medical marijuana establishment license, production, Boulevard Medical LLC, doing business as Boulevard Medical LLC at 714 First Street. The applicant has requested abeyance to October 18th, 2017. And Mayor, that is my motion.
Okay, there is a motion. Please vote. And please post. And that motion carries. And the afternoon abeyances we will do after 1 p.m. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 10. For possible action to approve the final minutes by reference to the August 2nd, 2017 regular city council meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes, please, Mayor Pro Tem?
Move to approve.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve the minutes. Please vote and please post. Did I miss it? Oh. Motion carries. Thank you so much. We're moving on to agenda items 11 through 58. On this consent agenda, are considered to be routine or recommended for approval by their departments, may be enacted in one motion. A correction should be noted on item 12, that it should reflect the location as Ward 5 with Councilman Barlow, not Ward 3 with Councilman Coffin. Note that the record should also reflect my abstention on items 21 through 28 because they pertain to medical marijuana-related businesses, and one of my sons involved in that industry, and I will be voting on all other items. Are there any other items or motion? Do you want anything brought forward?
What was that you mentioned was in Ward 5? That was the Ward 3?
It's the item 12. Do you want to take a look and see if you want to bring that forward? You're okay? Anything to bring forward, Council? We're okay? Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, would we have a motion on that, please? Agenda items 11 through 58 with the comments I've made.
Move to approve.
Thank you very much. Motion to approve on 11 through 58. Please vote and please post. Those motions carry. Thank you very much. Agenda item 59 pertains to medical marijuana, so I'll be abstaining because one of my sons, as I just mentioned, is involved in the industry, and I will turn the meeting over to Mayor Pro Tem Tarkanian. Discussion for possible action regarding the review of a conditional approval regarding the hours of operation for a dual-use marijuana establishment, medical marijuana dispensary, and retail marijuana store licenses, Serenity Wellness Center, LLC, DBA, Oasis Cannabis at 1800 Industrial Road, Suite 180 in Ward 3 with Councilman Coffin. It is yours to go, please.
Move to approve if that's what you want. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Item number 59 is Oasis Cannabis operating as a medical marijuana dispensary and retail marijuana store at 1800 Industrial Road. They have received their dispensary license back in December of 2015. Per Title 6.95, they're allowed to be open from 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. With City Council approval, they're allowed to extend those hours. So they are only closed for 3 hours in the morning. They're before you're here today to request that they be allowed to operate 24 hours. Business licensing does not have any compliance or licensing concerns at this location, and they are here today to help answer any questions.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. We believe that 24 hours is consistent with the use of the area, and I believe there's a motion on the floor, so if there are any further questions, I will answer those, but at this point, let's save everyone some time, and I'll let you guys proceed. Thank you.
Could we get your name for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben Silito, Oasis Cannabis, 1800 Industrial Road. Thank you.
Well, oh, that's all right. You can make the motion. I was sort of joking. I wanted to ask, I shouldn't joke. I don't joke well. I did want to ask a question, however, and you feel you need this additional 3 hours. Why?
Well, we're currently open from 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. We have customers lined up out front at 6 a.m., and we're frequently rushing them in the door when we close at 3 a.m. You know, security has always been a concern for our industry, and, you know, to provide additional deterrent for would-be criminals, I think having a presence there 24 hours a day will reduce potential crime, not only for our business, but also for our neighbors. We've been a good member of the community started. And, you know, I think that our presence helps deter potential crime.
But couldn't you have security those 3 hours?
Well, we currently do. We currently do. We have people there. I don't think it provides the same deterrent because I don't know if would-be criminals necessarily know that we have people there during those 3 hours. We're closed. So not only is it a security issue, but it's also an operational issue for us because we do staff people there throughout the evening, and we have customers. You know, we're on Industrial Road, so that's an area where there are 24-hour businesses all around us. We have a tavern across the street. You know, everyone knows that we're in the shadow of the stratosphere there. So there are people around us all the time that are potential customers. So for us, it makes sense operationally, and you know, there are a few considerations in addition to security.
Mary, why was it that I know you worked very hard with others in establishing these rules, and why did you have the closing at that time? Do you remember?
Originally, the closing for the marijuana establishments 3 years ago was set at 10 p.m. at night, and then more recently, we had changed this back this past spring to be 3 a.m. in the morning, to be more in line with what Clark County was allowing their dispensaries. So our dispensaries could operate on equal footing with Clark County dispensaries. And so we changed it to 3 a.m. in the morning.
Clark County then has the 3 hours, so that they're still closed.
Mayor Pro Tem, if you will, the County Commission voted yesterday to amend their Title 30, which restricts dispensaries, to allow them to be 24 hours now. So the county has already moved on this. However, I don't know how quickly their ordinance will be amended, but it would be nice to be able to open up 24 hours at the same time as the people down the street from me.
Well, and if we don't, then somebody's going to come to us and say, oh my, the county has 3 more hours. So, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That was a joke. I'm sorry. I'm not funny. That was for you to...
I was just playing along with the joke.
Approval of item 59.
Thank you.
What do I do without you, Ricky? Okay.
Thank you very much.
So the vote is in, and you have all yeses except for the mayor who could not vote. And let's move to the next item.
That is not marijuana, I don't believe, unless they're hiding behind something. Agenda item 60, discussion for possible action regarding the approval of massage accessory establishment license, Noble Healing Hands LLC, DBA Noble Fitness at 2120 Paradise Road, Ying Fan, managing member, Councilman Coffin's ward. Ms. McElhone.
For the record, Mary McElhone, Deputy Director of Planning. Item number 60 today is before you is Noble Fitness, and they're requesting an accessory massage establishment license. This license allows them to have a massage space or room that is 150 square feet or less inside an established business. This license would be ancillary to a primary business. This license is often requested by doctors' offices or cosmetology locations. It does not require a special use permit. They did apply for a special use permit for a massage establishment for the entire location, but that was denied at Planning Commission on September 12th last week. The Business Licensing Division has concerns for several reasons. First, the previous business that was at this location was a troubled massage establishment. Arrests were made for the solicitations of prostitutions, and the business was suspected of human trafficking among other numerous violations. This license was subsequently revoked by the city council members. On April 14, 2017, a new applicant had come forward, and we did issue a temporary conditional license at this location. This license that was issued was a general license to operate as a fitness club. An inspection took place on May 3rd of 2017. The front half of the building was sparsely populated with exercise equipment, and I have a few pictures here to show you. This is what we saw in the establishment, and they had these structures here in place with some exercise equipment on top. The license officer reached the back part of the building and found that the rest of the building was locked. The owner stated it was just some stuff back there and did not want to show the license officer the building. The license officer said he could not complete the inspection without seeing what was behind the locked doors. She reluctantly opened the doors. Behind the doors was a kitchen that appeared to be used with pots and pans. And then there were also 3 rooms in the back. Each room had a bed in the room with also a nightstand. And when Ying Fan, the owner, asked what it was for, she stated that sometimes she took naps and that she was also selling furniture. On the license, there is a specific condition that also states that there were to be no beds. She was told this, and she has since removed the bed. We have been going out on a routine basis, and the business is never open. A sign in the windows is training by appointment only. We have to remember that this accessory license that they're asking for here today is only ancillary to the primary business. A primary business, that business licensing has shown that does not appear to be open. We also have concerns that people were planning on living or may possibly have been living at the establishment, which is not allowed in a commercial location. So based on the history of the location and the current concerns, we're recommending denial of the accessory massage establishment license. And the owner is here today as well to speak.
Thank you very much. If you would repeat your name, are you made?
Please.
Ying Fan?
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, my name is Ying Fan. I can explain, like, I don't know the role. After the officer told me I cannot have the bed, I moved out right away. And the business is never open because I have another business in Clark County for a massage establishment and food spa for 3 years, and we have very good score. We don't do any extras, no happy endings, and we have good records. And the reason I cannot open because I'm single mother of 2, and I'm also Navy Reserve. I don't have much time to take care of the business. That's why I have to even close it instead of hire someone without license. Even the business location in commercial center in the past 3 years, almost half the time is closed because I don't want to break any laws. So I don't hire somebody no license, or I don't hire somebody I don't trust.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And your name, ma'am?
I'm Joy Moffett, and I'm on the building, and I have for 50 years. And all of that time, there's been very, very little trouble there. The last tenant I had for 14 years. And the last 2 years that she was there is when the trouble occurred that the licensing lady here is talking about. Lucy got cancer, and for 2 years I was really not aware of it. Really should have been paying more attention to the affairs there, but didn't do it. The building's been vacant now for 2 years. The building's in good condition. It's clean. Everything is being complied with through the city. I would really appreciate giving Ying a chance at it, and I will monitor the affairs that go on there, and I will not let any hanky-panky go on.
Okay,
so I would appreciate it if everybody would give her a chance this time.
Okay. Thank you for coming down, speaking on behalf of Ying. Is there any questions, comment from council before I turn this over to Councilman Coffin?
Oh, may I say one more thing?
Certainly.
The people across the street that have a massage parlor that she was speaking of, I've spoken to Nicole in the planning department, and they're going to see it, but they're not there anymore. There's a gentleman living in the parking lot named Mike Anthony, and he is putting out bottles and just generally living there, and he would like anybody to come by and give him wine, cheese, and bread. So I don't know what's going on, but there isn't any there with an open massage establishment at this present time, and somebody from the city needs to go out and see about it.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm sure Ms. McAlone has tucked that away just now. I saw that recognition. Councilman Barlow.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I evaluated the backup report on this particular item, and I will be supporting staff on this one. I believe that there's something here that we most definitely are missing. It does not seem to be, from what I review, an application that's really says what it is, and so therefore I won't be supporting this item.
Thank you. Any other councilman wish to speak out? Mayor Pro Tem?
I just want to ask, Mary, and the recommendation of your staff is?
Mary McElhone for the record. The recommendation is denial.
Is denial based upon the information and what you saw there. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Coffin,
Thank you,
please.
ma'am. The couple of questions. I won't take too long on this, but Joy, is it Joy?
Yes.
Okay, Joy, have you got, has rent been coming in on the property the last couple of years?
Do I have what?
Is there any rent coming in?
She's rented it now for the last 3 months.
6 months.
Yeah,
I've been paying rent for 6
and
months.
I've been getting the rent for that, but other than that, I'm not having anything on it at all.
So
I have a cell tower on the back of the property, and I have rent from a cell tower.
Okay, so after Lucy left the business, we helped her leave the business, then had any rent come in between that time and the time?
No.
Ms. Lim?
And Lucy's passed away.
Yes, I am thinking...
Over 2 years ago.
One of the problems we face with these is that in order to get to this point, in fact, we haven't really called a hearing or anything like that on it because there's been no infraction on a brand new license, but there are obvious infractions on the existing license. And so, you got to remember that there can be, I think, frankly think in the attitude of the council, there could be a mood to begin to come against the owners of the land because we have so many of these, they pop in and out. And we're really not structured to put it against the land unless we go through extraordinary procedures. But we're at that point where I think people just think we will accept anybody and everything. And
I haven't done that. I haven't accepted anybody. I have turned away more people than you can imagine. But actually, not that many people. I shouldn't say that because I haven't had that many people come along and want to rent it. And I am not willing to say, okay, you can pay me a little later or do this and that. I've given everybody strict instructions as to what I want, and I have not had any income other than the cell tower from that property, other than what I'm getting from Ying now for the last couple of years.
Joy, would you, on behalf of the Moffett Trust,
yes,
take responsibility?
I am the Moffett Trust.
Thank you. And Jerry, your father?
Jerry was my husband, and he passed away just 2 years ago.
My gosh. I want to say that would you be willing to guarantee personally any violations that occur, any fines, levies, fines that might occur as a result of this business?
Well, okay, if I would guarantee the fines or that she would incur, then she would have to go, because I would not continue to pay for somebody's fines if they don't do what they're supposed to do here. Okay. I've had the building a long time. I have to tell you, the Joseph property is to the south of me, and it's a vacant lot. And I have the Stratosphere Tower to the north of me, and it's very large, and they are not very good neighbors. And down there is nothing but homeless people. I'm down there probably 3 days a week, and my family does a day, and my family does not like me being down there at 11 o'clock at night running people off of there that are trying to go to sleep.
Yes, the people that live there, Joy, right behind these buildings also have an interest in the same problems. Let's not have a dialogue here. There'll be no more discussion. Two of the colleagues are voting against this, and so I'm going to move to deny. But that's without prejudice. Am I correct, counsel?
I would
I
like...
want to try to see if we can't work out something whereby people who really believe in their tenants are willing to back up the tenants with their pledge, because that could sure make a lot of difference in some of these. There's just nobody to come back on if we have more violations at this address.
I would be willing to go for maybe a 3-month period, and I will monitor it, and okay, if there's any infractions or fines or violations in there, I'll pay them.
Well,
But
Joy, I appreciate your offer, and that's kind of you, and it shows great respect for your potential tenant and your tenant. But I'm just saying that we need something of a long-term nature, and to consider the possibility of our authority to do that. So therefore, I am moving to deny this particular application today.
Okay.
That doesn't mean there's prejudice against this. At some
Councilman?
time again, it may come up.
You were correct in nodding down to our council, SEL. Would you care to comment on?
I would. I need to ask Mary, though, what would be the procedure if somebody were denied today and they were to come back a month or two from now with the same application?
Per our city ordinance, they would not be able to reapply for 1 year.
Yeah, so it is with prejudice, Councilman.
Okay. That is the motion.
Could I ask if maybe, if I get somebody who comes in and wants to rent, I just tell them that no massage parlor, no, I mean, do you have a list of things that maybe
No, it's your
you would
property.
want for that area in the way of people to come in, and, or how do I go about trying to get a tenant?
You make sure that the applicant that you have is abiding by the law. Very simple. And I'm sure that, as you go through their history of their business, if you have any questions, call Ms. McElhone. She could perhaps help you with researching of the background. But it is just this particular applicant that we're addressing at this time right now. But you, as the owner of the property, and unless there's an incorrect assumption there,
No, this denial is to this applicant specifically. If somebody were to come into the future with an application for a massage establishment, it'd be evaluated individually and separately and teed up before the council.
okay. Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. The council supports Mr. Coffin, and the motion is denied. Supported? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Madam Mayor, we move
I
to
just-
item number 61.
Well, 62 and 63,
can I suggest
61
one
and
thing?
62 have been obeyed to the 18th of
Can I
October.
suggest one thing? I don't understand why the former business owner's fault I have to carry. I don't
Well,
understand.
what I'm going to ask is if you will
Thank
speak with Ms. McElhone, she will be happy to explain it to you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 63. Boards and commissions, discussion for possible action regarding the appointment of nominee Bob Breer to Ward 1, seat of Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission. The term of office for Amy Tabor expired July 6th of 2017. The options are Mayor Pro Tem to appoint Mr. Breer or direct staff to forward an item to a future meeting to appoint another nominee. Mayor Pro Tem?
I want to note that Mr. Beer is someone who's been very active within the community. He's someone who has been involved in many different types of architecture and parks and recreation. His dad is a former mayor, so he has had a chance to be involved in many different things. And so I move, and he's done an excellent job everywhere he's been. So I move to have him appointed.
Is he here? Did he come?
I do not think he's here. He is not here. He's at work.
And I know Mayor Breer had twins.
Yes, he did.
Is he one of the twins?
He's one of the twins. Yes, he
Beautiful.
is.
Wonderful.
He's one of the twins.
All right, there's a motion. Please vote and please post. The motion carries, and he will be so notified. How exciting. Life goes around circles, doesn't it? Okay, agenda item 64, recommending committee bills eligible for adoption at a later meeting. Item 64, bill number 2017-19, will be heard at a later meeting. We will move on to new bills. New bills, agenda item 65. Item 65 will be heard at the recommending committee on Monday, October 4th, 2017. City Attorney, would you read the new bill, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. Bill number 2017-33, an ordinance to amend LVMC 7.38.043 to increase the number of pot-bellied pigs that may be kept at attached single-family residences and to provide further related matters.
Thank you. New bills are assigned to the recommending committee members, Councilman Barlow, Anthony, and Coffin. If any so designated member is unable to attend, the clerk's office will coordinate finding substitutes as necessary at my discretion. Thank you. The morning session of City Council meeting is now in recess. We will start the afternoon session at 1 p.m. Wow.
Bring my golf clubs. I can go out and hit some balls.
Yeah. Wow.
That's enough time to play 9 holes.
Wow.
Yeah, you want to see? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Would you want to do it upstairs or in the back? Well, we don't have to return until 1 o'clock. You want to go out to the golf course and? No.
Okay.
He may not come back. He may.
1 o'clock, and we're still on time. So, agenda item 66, for possible action, any items that the council staff and/or applicant wish to be stricken, tabled, withdrawn, or held in abeyance to a future meeting may be brought forward and acted upon at this time. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, may I have these items, please?
Yes. The following items have been requested to be held in abeyance, withdrawn, or stricken. Item number 76 to 79, GPA 70722, ZON 70723, VAR 70724, SUP 70725 are abeyance items. Applicant Nancy Crow, owner H Factor Limited Partnership on .95 acres located at 6050 West Lone Mountain Road. The action requested is abeyance to November 1st, 2017, and it's requested by the applicant. Item number 89, SUP
79. 89, sorry.
I
89,
said 78.
No, I confused you, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're right, 89.
Item number 89, SUP 71037, applicant Boulevard Medical LLC, owner GE 714 LLC, for possible action on a request for a special use permit for a proposed 4,553 square foot marijuana cultivation facility use at 714 South First Street, requested by applicant, abeyance to 10/18/2017. Item number 90, SUP 71038, special use permit related to SUP 71037, public hearing, applicant Boulevard Medical LLC, owner GE 714 LLC, for possible action on a request for a special use permit for a proposed 1,819 square foot marijuana production facility use at 714 South First Street, requested by the applicant to abate to October 18th, 2017. And Mayor, that is my motion.
Thank you very much. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. Motion's carried.
And Mayor?
Thank you very much.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just for the record, I know you've abstained on certain medical marijuana items in the past, but because an abeyance isn't a substantive motion, you are allowed to vote on that motion.
Thank you. So glad to have you here. Thank you. Okay, agenda items 67 through 75 may be considered in one motion, one vote. They're considered to be routine, non-public, and public hearing items with no condition changes. Any person representing an application or a member of the public or a member of this council not in agreement with the conditions and all standard conditions for the application recommended by staff should request to have that item removed from this portion of the agenda. I'm going to read through them, and then anyone, council or anyone else, you can go ahead and make your motion to pull them or have them removed. Agenda item 67, GPA 70710, applicant owner Ewing Investments LLC, and a request for general plan amendment from Row right-of-way to LIR, Light Industrial Research and related item. Agenda item 68, CON 70712, on a request for rezoning from Row right-of-way to M Industrial on .16 acres located in the north side of Washington Avenue, 220 feet east of 8th Street, and related item 69 VAR 70718, a request for variance to allow an 8-foot tall solid wall in the front yard setback where a maximum 5 feet with a 2-foot solid base is allowed, and related item 70 SUP 70714, a request for a special use permit for a towing impound yard use northeast corner of Washington 8th Street, and related item SDR 70720 on a request for site development plan review for proposed 57 1,934 square foot towing impound yard expansion with waivers to allow a 0-foot wide perimeter landscape buffers where 15 feet is required along the rights-of-way and 8 feet is required along interior lot lines on 1.33 acres located the northeast corner of Washington A Street, M Industrial Zone and Row right-of-way, proposed M Industrial. These are in Ward 5 with Councilman Barlow. Agenda item 72, ZON 71071, applicant owner Della Pina, Trejo Family Trust on a request for rezoning from RE Residence Estates to R1 Single Family Residential on .42 acres, 1703 North Michael Way, also in Ward 5 with Councilman Barlow. Agenda item 73, VAR 71093, applicant owner First High Loation Presbyterian Church for possible action on a request for a variance to allow a 15-foot front yard setback where 50 feet is required, and related item SUP 71094 on a request for a special use permit for proposed church house of worship use, northeast corner of Smoke Ranch and Michael Way, and related item SD number 75 SDR 71095, a request for a site development plan review for a proposed 17,210 square foot church house of worship with waivers to allow a 5-foot landscape buffer along the east perimeter and a 6-foot landscape buffer along the south perimeter, where 15 feet is required on 2.50 acres, northwest corner Smoke Ranch and Michael Way, RE Residence Estates Zone, Ward 5, Councilman Barlow. All items are recommended for approval by the Planning Commission and staff and are public hearing items which I declare open. Is anyone present today wishing to be heard on any of the items 67 through 75? If so, please come forward, state your name. Okay, hearing none, I'll close the public hearings. Any comments from Ward 5 before I turn this over to Mayor Pro Tem? Okay. Anything from staff further? Smilingly, no. Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion for items 67 through 75?
Move to approve items 67 through 75.
Thank you. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. Motion carries. We'll move on to agenda item 80 because agenda items 76 through 79 have been obeyed to the 1st of November. So, agenda item 80.
Item number 80.
Yeah, I'm going backwards because I just took a whole clump and put, there we go. VAR 69229, abeyance item variance, public hearing. Applicant owner Nathaniel Levitt for possible action, and we have a card here, on an appeal of denial by Planning Commission on a request for a variance to allow a 3-foot side yard setback where 5 feet is required and a 13-foot rear yard setback where 15 feet is required for an existing addition to a single-family dwelling on .21 acres located at 3004 Burton Avenue, APM 162-05-214-005, R1 single-family residential zone, and this is in Ward 1 with Councilwoman Tarkanian. Planning Commission and staff both recommend denial. This is a public hearing which I declare open. Is the applicant or representative present?
Yes, Your Honor. Andrew Levitt on behalf of Nathan Levitt, who's the applicant.
Thank you very, and then one and the same, you filled out a card.
I'm sorry, what?
Wrong. This is also, we have Philip, who will be asked on public speaking. Philip Halverson of 3013 Bryant. We have your card. You'll be next. So please speak to the issues.
Your Honor, thank you. I represent Nathan Levitt. He purchased a home there approximately 10 years. He's been a city fireman for 10 years ago. He moved in the house 10 years ago. He wanted to be close to work, the central area. His father was a fireman for 35 years, still is a fireman. His grandpa was a captain with the city fire department. He was born and raised here. What had happened in this case is he hired a general contractor. He thought everything was right. There was an existing garage at that particular location. They tore that down and they built what's on there right now. The garage basically is expanded in size where the code requires 5 feet on the east wall. There's only 3 feet there. When the code requires 15 feet on the back wall, there's 13 feet. So we're basically asking for 2 feet on each side, which is this much, on a 10,000 square foot lot. The other 2 sides of the garage are in perfect compliance. In other words, there's not an issue with the other 2 sides. It's just the north wall and the east wall. And again, there's 3 feet on one side and there's 13 feet on the other side. So there is a buffer in there right now. As far, I think some of the homeowners had an issue with the size of the garage. If they move the garage over 2 feet and up 2 feet, you can build a garage that's 3 times the size of the one that's there now. The footprint that's there right now is basically the size of the garage. It's 18 feet high. They could build it 35 foot high and be in compliance with the city code. The only issue is there's a setback issue on one of the front sides, and on the side, they're fine. But the garage shape and the garage size is not an issue. Code enforcement came out there and indicated they didn't have a permit, so they stopped work. They weren't aware that there wasn't a permit. They have since met with code enforcement, paid all of the fees, paid all of the fines. That was $1,700. They've submitted all of the paperwork. It's my understanding that they don't have an issue with the garage itself. It's just the set-offs that we're talking about, basically 2 feet on 2 sides. The contractor simply, they put it in the wrong place. In other words, if they had moved it over 2 feet and up 2 feet, the garage would have been built by now, and there wouldn't be an issue. If this is denied, they're going to have to move the walls in 2 feet on one side and the other wall in 2 feet on the other side. It's going to cost approximately $30,000, and it's a complete waste of money to do that. And they're still going to have the exact same garage in that exact same spot, except it's going to cost $30,000 to bring it in 2 feet on the back and bring it in 2 feet on the side. They're willing to, they've met with the neighborhood. We had a neighborhood meeting where they addressed everybody's concerns, and again, I think the concerns are some people don't like the shape or the size of this garage, but it's private property. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean you should come and protest it. It's basically a 2-foot setback, again, on 2 sides, which is all we're talking about. They can build a garage that's 3 times that size and be in perfect compliance with code if they wanted to. They're willing to put in trees, raise the block wall on the one side. It's 4.5 feet now. If they raise it up 6 feet, but you can't, from the pictures earlier, you can't even see the garage unless you're standing directly in front of that right here. And if you're standing directly in front of the gate, that's the only time you see the garage. You can't see it from the back. You can't see it from either side. And again, I think that some of the protesters, they just have an issue with the size of the garage. But we're not, again, the size isn't what we're here for. We're just here to ask for a 2-foot variance on 2 sides only, and we would request that be granted.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments that you would like to make? Nothing. Our public, this is a public hearing. Anyone from the public? And we do have a card from Philip Halverson, which I will give you.
Hi. I'd like to point out that we're not protesters.
Your name?
Philip Halverson, 3013 Bryant Avenue.
Thank you.
I'd like to point out we're not protesters, we're neighbors. There's a difference. I'd like to ask that the city council deny their request for variance. It's a monstrous structure. The picture doesn't do it justice. You can see the side yards from the other house to the right there. It blots out the sun. It's, like I said, it's a monstrous structure, and if it's allowed to stand, what does that mean for the rest of the neighborhood? What can't be built if this is allowed to stand as it sits? It's too tall, it's too close, it's too big. I had some other comments about other things, but I'm not going to get into that.
And where, sir, is your house in relation?
I'm 1 block south.
Okay.
And
thank you.
we spoke with Councilwoman Tarkanian at our neighborhood meeting, and I'm not sure if that's relevant, but they were saying it has to be attached to the house. It's too tall the way it stands. It's a two-story structure. It's enormous. It belongs out in the country, not in a historic neighborhood like McNeil. So I'd like to ask you again to please deny the variance, and thank you for letting me speak. Try.
Thank you for coming down.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wishing to speak to this issue, please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon. Shauna Waldman, 2901 Colanth Avenue. As much as Mr. Levitt wanted to gloss over some of the points with regards to this issue and say that the setback is 2 feet and it's minimal, et cetera, and that there's going to be additional cost incurred, the reality is that this structure began with no permit. The applicant was given a cease and desist order and a verbal cease and desist and continued to build in violation of those orders. And if he had done it properly and gotten the rules, he would have saved himself a lot of heartache. And the reason that you have setbacks that you do is because when you're building such a large structure, you're going to impede upon the neighbors. Those photos that you showed, there are some other photos that were submitted at the Planning Council meeting that were taken from the backyard of the neighbor directly to the east. And basically, when they walk out of their backyard, they now look like they're in the middle of an industrial complex. So the setback is a way to somewhat minimize the impact of the largesse on the neighbors. Mr. Rivera couldn't be here. He lives behind them. As he said, you know, their backyard, they can't even see the sunsets anymore with this structure. With regards to the height, my understanding is that you can have a detached structure or a separate structure, but it cannot be taller than the main house. This is clearly a garage. All of the plans submitted by the applicant indicate it's a garage. There are no living areas, there's no bathrooms, there's no segregation, no bedrooms, no closets. I think if we got into planning said, yeah, but you're going to have to attach it, call it a residential addition, then you'll be able to go to 35-foot height in maximum. That's not what he did. He's trying to figure out how to make it work with code, with minimal impact in a situation that he created by and for himself. He was told to stop early on in the procedure, which would have saved him a lot of money. And the biggest issue is, you know, at what point in time do those of us who institute rules, regulations, or even a parent set a standard for our kids, you know, draw that line in the sand and say, no, you're not going to cross it. This constant allowance of variances weakens the legislative process, the rules that we put in place, and what all of the neighborhoods seek, or the neighbors within the neighborhood want, which is consistency. And the reality is that once you allow something that major in, you open the door for anyone else to say, well, they did it, so why can't we? And because of that, we're asking the commission to please, the council to please, you know, follow planning and their recommendation and deny and make them go back and do it right.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close public hearing. Mr. Sommerfeld.
Madam Mayor.
Are you on this as well?
Yes, I am, Mayor.
Please.
My name is John Thorndall. I live at 3013 Burton Avenue, which is across the street and 3 houses west of this particular structure. And my wife and I have lived at this address for 49 years. A couple of items have not been discussed yet and aren't even in the protests which I've seen, of which there are a great many starting back with the Planning Commission. One is that you saw the picture of the very large gate, and ever since that gate went up during a rainy day, a couple of rainy days back in November or early December, everything has kind of been handled with speed and secrecy. First of all, a large dumpster was parked out front. Then a Caterpillar-type machine arrived, and the gate opened, and they took down the old garage. Yes, there was a garage there. There was a one-car garage, which met all the setback requirements. In fact, I think from the side yard, it was about 8 feet from the side yard because there was an old vehicle parked between the garage and that wall. Next, after the garage was demolished, the gate was closed, and then a few days later the gates opened, and They're pouring footings and pouring a new driveway. It's my understanding you don't need a permit to widen the driveway, but what you do need a permit for is when you cut the curb. When I cut the curb at my house, I had to get a permit. The inspector was out there, had his tape, measured the depth, make sure that the footings were correct, and then check the concrete to make sure it was the right material for the curb, which was different than the driveway. So that's another violation. Next, how do I show a picture?
Just right there in front of you, right on the,
Oh,
there you
okay.
are.
You'll notice this is the view from the lot right next door. Notice the electrical line. When I had to change the electrical line at my house, I had to get a permit, and I had to have NV Energy in. Only NV Energy could move it from the pole to the structure. I never recall seeing NV Energy there. Maybe they were there, and I missed them. But I seriously doubt that they would support an electrical line with a stick. That's what's holding this thing up in the middle. So we have, besides not getting the permit, we have the curb cutting, and we have the electrical line. Now, Ms. Waldman mentioned this is a garage. If you go back to the original application that was filed, it says it's a garage. It was only when the stop and desist order got out and was served on them that they found out, well, we can build something of this height and this size as an addition. So they show a little carport or a little covering from this structure to the house. So now it's called an addition to the house. However, I don't know of any additions to the house that have an 8 by 12-foot door in the front and an 8 by 8-foot door on the side. This is clearly a garage. They can call it whatever they want, but it is an oversized garage. Now, this isn't the first time that something has been built in our neighborhood and then was ordered to be torn down. I can go back a number of years. On Friday afternoon, truckload of material was delivered 5 doors to the west of this particular, of the applicant's home. And by Sunday night, there was basically a carport built. A couple months later, City Council ordered it torn down, and it was. It's never been rebuilt. More recently, there was a very large metal structure that was constructed on Ashby, on the 300-foot lots over there. That structure is no longer there. There are at least 2 carports or garages that I'm aware of where they tried to go to the sideline. These were corner lots, and the codes are a little bit different for the corner lots, but they tried to go to the property line. The garage was modified to meet code. The carport was never built. So there is precedent in our neighborhood to order things to be torn down. But let me make it clear that the applicant and his father, who is going to use this garage, according to the neighborhood meeting that we had, are firefighters for the city of Las Vegas. As firefighters, I think we can assume that they know from their training and their experience the necessity for codes and for building permits. But still, they chose to ignore it. And also, let me make it clear that even if they had applied and followed the process for something this large, we would still be objecting to it because it's simply not compatible with our particular neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If I could just briefly reply.
Yep.
Again, we're not, as far, and I'll just address them in the order that they came. The monster structure, under the code, they could build something 3 times that size. And I did bring some pictures of other garages that are right around the corner in the area, or in the neighborhood. This is one that's bigger than Nathaniel's garage. Here's another one in the neighborhood that's bigger than Nathaniel's garage. Here's another one in the neighborhood that's bigger than Nathaniel's garage. And again, it's not a monster structure, and it's not really a valid objection if you're a neighbor to say, well, you're building something too big, as long as it's within code. And it's only, we're talking about a 2-foot setback on 2 sides. Now, Mr. Thorndall, that was just up here speaking, and he's apparently objecting to the 2-foot setback. This is a picture of Mr. Thorndall's house, and you can see his roof on the side right there basically is on the neighbor's wall. So this is a neighbor that's objecting to a 2-foot setback when his house, there is no setback. So again, as far as the electrical line goes, that is a temporary pole. In other words, that's not the permanent electrical line that, as Mr. Thorndall indicated. Nevada Power would be out there, they would put that's just temporary right now. So again, it's just a 2-foot setback. If the setbacks, if the garage would have been, and I'm going to say it one last time, 2 feet more to the east and 2 feet more to the north, we wouldn't be standing here. They couldn't object. They could come in here. There is nothing to object to. It's within city code. They don't need a variance. There wouldn't be a hearing. And again, the contractor, he made a mistake and he put it 2 feet over on each side, which was a mistake. And if it's not approved, they're just going to move it back 2 feet, and then there won't be an issue. So we would ask that you grant the variance. There's precedent in the neighborhood, and there's precedent with Mr. Thorndall's house himself, which looks like the roof is basically on the wall of his neighbor. So we would submit it on that. And thank you for the time.
Thank you. Please.
I don't know about the other buildings in the neighborhood, but my house is 8 feet from the side wall on both sides. And when you subtract the overhang, it's 6 feet with the overhang and 8 feet from the wall. Back before Mr. Levitt was born, during one of our remodelings, of which all of them I had permits, about 73, 74, 75, we enclosed the garage, we added a carport, and all of this was permitted. That was a place for my kids' bikes to be parked with a little cover on the side wall. And it was built at the same time, and it was all permitted. That's all I can tell you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to come forward, please state your name for the record.
Phil Halverson, back again. There's pictures of those garages. If they've been built illegally, then tear them down. It's that simple. If they were built, maybe they're grandfathered in. The codes have changed over the years, but the codes today, I don't want the variance granted if it's at all possible. Go find them, talk to them. They're very easy. They found them, and we can tear them down. It's that simple. Thank you.
Hello, Christopher Allen, 1125 Kalen Drive. I just wanted to point out that the photographs, some of the photographs that he just showed are on properties that are almost 4 times the size of what we're talking about as far as their property, so we're against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close public hearing and we'll hear from Mr. Sommerfeld.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor. There's no impediment with this property for meeting the Title 19 setback requirements, and therefore staff would recommend denial of this variance. When inspecting the site, staff did find that the roof eaves on the east side of the addition did encroach into the setback up to the property line. If approved, the applicant has agreed to alter those eaves to conform to the proposed 3-foot setback. And thank you.
That's it. Okay. Any comments from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
Yes. I do have a question as it relates to when was this item open from a code enforcement standpoint?
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councilman, the case was originally opened in December of 2016.
And what was the case signaling as to why it was open?
The correction notice to the owner was to cease construction until all permits and any required planning processes had been obtained.
And do we have any photos? Do we take photos of infractions so that we can determine or measure if anything has transpired since that point of opening the case?
I would say typically we do. I do not have those pictures available to me right now, but if you need to see something, I can contact code enforcement and try to see how quickly they can send me something.
Okay. And so
What are you driving
what,
at with
what were we looking for in regards to the cease and desist? Does it spell out to cease and desist what?
It was a cease and desist order to stop all construction until permits had been issued and or any planning issues had been resolved. So again, as the subject expansion had been too close to the property lines, they would have had to come through the planning process to get a variance for those setbacks. Additionally, they had no permits that had been issued for the construction of the expansion.
So I can only assume that code enforcement saw, or it was reported to code enforcement that there was construction being built without permits, and so therefore something was under construction in December of 2016.
That is correct.
Okay. And looking at the structure today, it looks as though the structure is completely built out with power.
That is correct, sir. So there was additional code enforcement action in January of 2017.
And what did that spell out?
During that inspection, it was found that construction had continued despite the issuance of the correction notice. At that time, we put an inspection fee on it. Further in January 11th, 2017, code enforcement was directed by Building and Safety to post a red tag for a dangerous structure on the site. The owner was on site, and the code enforcement officer at that time did explain the planning process. And then again in January 19th of 2017, code enforcement attended the pre-application meeting that they finally began the planning process on January 19th to get them to this variance hearing.
So there was work that continued even after the cease and desist from code enforcement in December?
According to the timeline I have from code enforcement, work did continue after the original correction notice.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Levitt, is that fact?
Nathaniel Levitt can address Councilman Barlow's concerns on that. Go ahead.
So we were told
Your name you have to say for the record.
Nathaniel Levitt, 3004 Burton. We did have enforcement come by, and they told me that we needed to stop construction, which we did at that point until we talked to planning. So we went to planning, explained what was going on, came up with what plan would work for this property and this project, and we continued construction at that point.
With their permission, with Planning's commission?
Well, that was my fault, absolutely. I believe when I talked to them that I thought that we were good at the point that we had gone to planning, gotten our plans made, and when he came back and explained that we still couldn't do any more work, we haven't done anything since.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments, questions? Councilwoman Fiore?
So it's more of a comment, and, you know, I wish all of our neighbors and, you know, we could all work together and get together and help each other and build the things we want. But I'm going to tell you my own personal, I built a little, like 1,200 square feet, kind of like a clubhouse for my 16-year-old daughter without permission, and ended up costing me about 42 grand total. But the SWAT team, which I at the time used to find buildings for them to blow up, so the SWAT team came to my house and we had to blow it up. So that was the lesson I learned for not asking permission before building, just to tell you.
Anyone else? Councilman Soroka?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor. Just a question to follow up with the size concern. Could I ask staff to address the concern about the size and how that relates to being attached, detached, or any other considerations?
Please.
Madam Mayor, through you, Councilman, so as an accessory structure, as I believe has been represented that this started out as, There are constraints. An accessory structure cannot be higher than the principal dwelling and has a limited area that it can occupy. Once they converted it into an expansion of the primary dwelling, now that new height of the primary dwelling is whatever the height of the expansion is. So that's kind of the difference. If it was an accessory structure that they were adding, that accessory structure cannot be higher than the principal dwelling, but by converting it through connecting it to the main dwelling, converting it to an expansion, now whatever height they've created is the height of the principal building by extension, and therefore they're under the limitations of the 35 feet, 2 stories, and so that's why there's not a height issue based on it being an expansion of the primary dwelling at this point.
Thank you. Anyone else, any questions, comments? I have something after the conclusion that I would like to ask planning, if I may, but after this is decided. All right, Councilwoman.
This first came to my attention when several people who live in the area called myself and my assistant, Robin Minet, about someone building, and they said, we checked on it and there's no permit. So I then checked through our offices and there was no permit. And then the head of the building department, that's okay, don't worry.
All right, no, go ahead. Go on.
The head of the building department, Chris Knight, went out himself and talked with the owner or somebody who was on site at that time and told them that you have to cease and desist immediately. You do not have a permit. And I heard nothing more then until a few weeks later when people called me. I said, well, we have a cease and desist on that. And they said, well, they're still building. They're still building. We see it. Several people saw it. They even told me, and in one of the letters I received, that during the holidays when it rained, they were still doing it. They were accelerating the building of this property after they had been told to cease and desist. First of all, I want to say that we have rules and regulations so that we have compatible homes within a neighborhood. And I think this is what this is all about. But anyway, I met with the two gentlemen. They're very nice people, except they chose not to get the permit, and they did not get the permit in a fast, do you have your permit now? No, you still don't have your permit. So they still don't have the permit. But in any case, this was a sort of a shock to me, that here you are, you start building, okay, maybe you didn't know, maybe somebody did tell you, but you're told by the head of the department, he goes out there himself to tell you that. And you didn't stop. And then you will say, oh, well, we didn't do any more building, but I will tell you, you did, because I live in that area, and I and my assistant went by there 2 times and saw people working during that time, as well as the numerous letters that I have, half of which state that they saw the building continue. What is wrong with that? What's wrong with that, I feel, I'm sorry to tell you this, I feel it's a selfishness on your part. You said you lived in this neighborhood for 10 years. If you've lived there for 10 years, you know the McNeil neighborhood. You know how hard they have worked to keep their neighborhood compatible, to keep it one of the shining lights within the city of Las Vegas. And it is a shining light. They have the best neighborhood association of which I'm aware in the entire city. And then when you came to see me, I said to you, you know, you have a problem here. I'm getting all these calls. You should call a neighborhood meeting together. We'll get you the names. You get the neighborhoods together, which is a common thing to do in a situation like this. You didn't even do that. The time you met with the neighbors was one of their regular meetings when they had this on the agenda. And I just think it's something where you're not showing the courtesy that people who live near you need to have. I'd like to read a couple of, I want to tell you first, I have received 49 emails or written letters or calls. 49 all are against. Not one have I received, other than you're wanting to have it done yourself, not one have I received that says they approve this. From one lady, she says, Susan Futrell said, this is an act first, where you do the act first and you seek forgiveness later. Feels like both a moral and procedural violation. Zoning regulations and building codes are created for the purpose of avoiding building problems like this one before they occur. You wouldn't have this problem if you would follow the regulations of the city. You built a very large building and you didn't even go to the city and get a permit on it. This resident willfully violated the procedure requirements as well as the code limitations, and now neighbors are subject to a building that resembles an industrial monstrosity rather than an appropriate sized and style building for our neighborhood. And that was another thing when you came to see me. I asked you about the metal on the outside of the building. I said, that doesn't look like it fits in with the neighborhood, and you said you could change it or would change it. But I find nothing here that says that's what you plan to do. Now let's look at the people that live next door. From Sunny O'Halloran. I live next door to the very large two-story garage that has been built, and I strongly oppose this new addition. The garage is built within 2 feet of our wall with the roof eaves hanging directly above the wall, which will cause all rainfall runoff to flood our yard. This garage is also an eyesore that makes us feel as if we live next to an industrial park, which will negatively impact our property value. Now, we hear that you will, okay, if this is passed, that you will take care of the eaves and so forth and so on, but you know what? I can't trust you. I couldn't trust you to take care of the eaves when everything else I've done with you, you haven't followed through on. And then the other sides, the neighbor says, our yard is adjacent to this structure and it is too tall and close to our property line. This has completely changed the atmosphere of our backyard and has ruined the sight lines that we had sought after when initially purchasing our home. So, 49, and of those 49, not one in favor of this whatsoever. Your lawyer says, well, you know what, look across the street at the home where the gentleman who spoke lived. And I will tell you, that home, when it was built, you know, I have no idea what the rules were at that time. That's an old neighborhood. And I know, because I represent one of the older wards, I know that we have a lot of things that aren't where they're supposed to be, because when they were built, there weren't the rules and regulations there are now. But we must continue to keep this in a way that's compatible with the neighborhood. Compatible with the neighborhood. And that's one of the things planning over there. You cannot talk. Wait a minute over there. Hi. One of the things planning looks for is this compatible with the neighborhood? You don't just look at size or width, that's part of it, but is this compatible with the neighborhood? And I got to tell you, I do not think that this is compatible with the neighborhood. And I don't think it was right what you did to continue to build. And I wish that it could be done differently, but I am really bothered by this. I look at all these people in front of me that are right down here. They work very, very hard to set up the regulations, to set up the rules so we have a safe city. This is what this is all about, too. It's not just looks at safety involved, too. I look at my fellow councilmen, and I know that they probably spend nights reading stuff relating to this just the way I do. And when you do something like this, and twice you had to have a cease and desist, you didn't follow through on setting up your own neighborhood meeting, I am moving for the removal of the garage.
There's a motion.
I am denying the motion and moving instead for the removal of the garage.
Well, it's the same. You are denying the application.
Well, but the big garage is built. It still doesn't have a permit, but it's built, Mayor.
Correct.
So I don't want it still staying there.
Yeah, if you deny the appeal, the garage has to come down.
Okay, so
Well,
I don't...
I'm sorry, it has to meet code where it has to be pushed back to the appropriate setbacks.
All right. I deny
The appeal.
the appeal. And by the way, it isn't just myself who's felt this way. Our planning department had moved for denial, and our planning commission did also. So I'm really following what they have said.
And Mayor Pro Tem, is there a certain date by which you'd like to see that accomplished?
I would ask planning what they feel would be fair. I want to be fair.
Madam Mayor, through you, given that it is already constructed and that there's probably some things that they'll have to work through to either modify it to meet code or to remove it, we would say 90 days for them to get that, either the permits in to make the modifications to bring it up to code or to get the demolition permit to bring the structure down.
But they need a permit, whatever they do.
Yes, they need a permit, whatever they do.
They need a permit for whatever they want to do going forward.
And I want you looking at also what you always usually have when you give these to us in our backup material on the yellow pages, compatibility. Not just, do I have something that fits in the square, but compatibility. Thank you.
Okay, so only you and Councilman Soroka still have to vote, and then we will post.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, I voted on my motion, yeah.
Okay, and the motion carries. So hopefully you will be able to comply with this in 90 days, but the changes that you can try to make happen through planning with a permit, I would open that conversation as soon as you can. Thank you, thank you. And I'd like to add, because I did say I wanted to ask you a question after the vote. Is there anything in our codes, maybe they vary around the city, I don't know, about what materials can be used in what locales and on what parts of property? The reason I'm asking, I have not gone by this particular edition, but it looked to me like prefab metallic material, which is comparable to Jelco buildings that you move around quickly for storage and doing other things that are highly flammable and go up like in 2 minutes. So I don't know if this particular garage is made of that type. I saw the metal roofing, but they were, 10 years ago, highly flammable, combustible. And do we have any codes that look at that?
Madam Mayor, so it's one part zoning code, one part building code, as far as, types of materials, if they're appropriate in certain proximity to property lines. The other portion of it is that the zoning code has some prohibited materials unless approved through a site development review in relation to fencing and perimeter walls. The appropriateness of compatibility, it becomes a little bit subjective when you're looking at some of the accessory structures for is it compatible and aesthetic with the primary structure, which is what a accessory structure criteria would be. The additions to existing houses, you're looking for it to match the existing house as well. So it depends on what's either existing and you're matching it, or if you're proposing something new, what else is on site and is it compatible with that on site. But we don't have a list of prohibited materials in relation to single-family homes, but we do have some materials like razor wire, chain link fencing and that, which are listed for perimeter fencing.
So I'm wondering at this day and age, is that something for planning to consider as far as visual? I'm not even sure. And certainly building safety would know that were that an addition to a structure or abutting another house or residence, and it were of that material to go up in 2 minutes, then it goes from you to building and safety, or you work simultaneously on that?
Mayor, on a building permit review, we are doing reviews that sometimes run parallel or not with the building and safety, but in regards to an aesthetic review of the structure, primarily that is the planning department using their best judgments on compatibility with what's on site, not necessarily the adjacent neighbor. We're looking at matching the existing structure. As the zoning code reads, majority of the development standards are in relation to the existing structures on site.
And is that comprehensive throughout the city, or does it depend on the neighborhood and the development itself?
As you move throughout the city, you have different further guidelines. Some master development plan areas and special area plans have specific criteria on materials, and even have additional CC&Rs that the city does not regulate that govern what type of materials can be used for structures.
Now, if I wanted to create a structure, addition, or separate from my house that is of highly flammable material, with the prevailing southwest wind that will blow that highly flammable, engulfed structure out there, in order to get my building permit, will it first go, after it finishes with you, it has to go through building and safety? Before I get my permit?
Well, how about the fire department?
Madam Mayor, the permit process includes a number of departments, planning being one, fire department being another, and building and safety. And in those reviews, that type of scenario would be reviewed as far as what it's being made of, where it is in proximity to it, the flammable nature of it. More than likely would be fire prevention, would be reviewing that and making comments. Building and safety also would be making comments. As far as the planning department, unless it is blatantly obvious to us that it is combustible, we more than likely would just be looking at the aesthetic. But if it was imminent danger, we would make comment on that as well.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Well, I'm sure that goes through building and safety. That's where it would end up.
The fire department then goes through you, right? Their report goes through you. In other words, if anybody using inflammable material, wouldn't the fire department note that and then let you know it?
Through the permit process, all of our comments go into one permit review and are viewable by all the departments. The building department won't release the building permit until all comments have been addressed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move on to agenda items 81 and 82. Number 81, SUP 71018, a request for a major amendment to an approved special use permit, SUP 38865, and agenda item 82, SDR 71019, a request for a site development plan review for a proposed 11,076 square foot expansion of a 7,940 square foot existing restaurant with outdoor dining. The applicant is Casa Don Juan Restaurants, and the owner is MGG LLC at 1208 South Main, CM Commercial Industrial Zone. Staff and Planning Commission recommend approval of both items. These are in Ward 3 with Councilman Coffin, and are public hearings which I declare open. Is the applicant or representative present? Please, and if you'll just get, we don't need addresses, just names of who you are and then who is with you.
Oh, right. Oscar O'Keefe, architect, along with Raul Gill.
Hi. Delicious food.
Excuse me. I'm sorry?
I just said very delicious food.
Thank you. Thank you.
Long time here. Remember how things were really dark in the 1999, 2000, and Oscar suggested, my husband, to hang in there, things will get better. And then it got better, and then they got worse, and now they're better again. So good. Okay, do you want to make any comments to these items?
We concur with all the items. We've talked to the different groups in the area on their concerns about parking and building setbacks. And Mr. Gill has purchased some property across the street where he's going to build some on-site parking. So the parking requirement, as far as the parking, is going to be increased. So we've kind of addressed that item. The building setback was another concern of the neighborhood, as far as they wanted it further back. So we've done that. So that's been pushed back away from the front on South Main, and that's all we have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone from the public wishing to be heard, please come forward, and then we'll hear from Mr. Summerfield.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. Heidi Swank, I'm the Executive Director of the Nevada Preservation Foundation. I wanted to first thank Mr. O'Keefe and Mr. Gill for meeting with us and agreeing to push back that second story 4 additional feet to help reduce the sight lines from the ground floor. However, there still are some issues that we think need to be addressed, and so I want to take a minute to take you through our issues and then explain kind of how that impacts us as a historic preservation nonprofit, because I think there's a couple questions out there about that. So just to start off with, there are several towers that are being proposed as part of this project, and I took and drew this line all the way across. This is the 45-foot line right here. For both of these, and now 45 feet, if you figure that a commercial property's roof line is usually between 10 and 12 feet, these sit at almost 4 stories high. And this is on a street on Main Street that has only 1-story buildings. There are a couple of buildings that have a parapet in the front that make it look like a little bit of a higher roof line, but that's really just to hide a higher roof inside. It's not a second story. So we have a concern here that having towers that are almost 4 stories high in this area are going to really put this building out of scale with what's happening on Main Street and what a lot of people have worked very hard to maintain on Main Street. Our other concern is right in here. Here you can see the original, the current existing front facade of Casa Don Juan. That's at a height of 12 feet, which is in keeping with the other facades on Main Street. The part that's being added right in here, you can see here that it's up to 14 feet. And so that is going to be higher than the other roof lines on Main Street. Now, how all of this fits in as a historic preservation issue is that there is the Main Street program that has just been brought to the state of Nevada by the Nevada legislature. And what this does is that it works with areas like Main Street to reduce vacancy rates, to brand these areas, to make them thriving areas, to help out our small businesses to become very successful business areas. And this is really, I know that I was told by the Governor's Office of Economic Development that lots of folks from the City of Las Vegas Planning went to the training for the Main Street program and were very interested. And I think this is a great fit for that program. Now, as a sideline of what kind of happens with these main streets once they get designated as part of the National Main Street program is that they often will go for becoming a National Register Historic District. And the reason they do that is, well, because maybe they love history, but mostly it's because there's a 20% federal historic tax credit that you can become eligible for renovations on your building that meet the Secretary of Interior standards. So our concern with this renovation is that it's going to create an out-of-scale building on Main Street that could leave this area not able to become a National Register Historic District for the entire area, and thereby not allow other businesses to have access to that 20% historic tax credit. Now, I can't say for sure that that would happen, but even if that doesn't happen from this one project, it does set a precedence so that other buildings could become this large too. And if we have too many of these in this area, I fear that our small businesses could lose access to that tax credit. I also know there has been precedents that required other businesses right on Main Street to keep with that mid-century feel. They had wanted to do something Art Deco, and they were required to do a facade that was more in keeping with the mid-century. We don't expect that Casa Don Juan will look mid-century. We think the Hacienda look is a great look for Main Street. We're just looking for a scale that better fits in so we can make sure that other businesses can have access to this tax credit in the future. Thank you for listening to my very long explanation.
Thank you so much for coming down. Anyone else wishing to speak on this particular item, please come forward and state your name for the record. I'm going to close public hearing. We're going to hear from Mr. Summerfield.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since the item was heard at the Planning Commission in August, the applicant has, as indicated, revised their proposed building elevations in consideration of some of the concerns that were raised at that meeting. The expansion includes encompassing recently vacated and acquired property to the south, as well as adding a second story to the existing single-story building. Once completed, the new expanded restaurant and urban lounge will be approximately 19,000 square feet. Staff finds the use to be compatible with the surrounding area and recommends approval of these applications. Thank you.
And if I might add, what is the timeline if in fact this is agreed to by council? When would you start? When would it complete, assuming all?
Well, first, we have to make modifications to the plans based on structurally engineering, so forth on the plans. So we're looking at about 4 months to get those plans completed and resubmitted back to the building department. After that, then we're probably going to be building next year.
And will you stay open during the building?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any questions, comments before I turn this over to Councilman Coffin? Councilman Coffin.
Thank you, Mayor. The item, when it first came to my attention, the only objection I had heard was that parking would be squeezed downtown. It is true that there's not as much limitation on parking in the downtown area, but because of, it just makes sense. And so they did acquire, based on our recommendations, they acquired additional land to park some more cars. How much did you get?
The existing restaurant has 44 spaces, and the additional property will bring it up to over 80 spaces.
Okay. And your peak, there's still street room, obviously, but
yes,
you were doing that, and I appreciate the fact you did that at our request, because your businesses around there said that's all the problem they had. It just was worried about not being, their customers not being able to get in. So that's been solved. That was the only objection that I heard until recently. I knew about the attempt to change the front of the building because it didn't fit with the other 1950 construction block wall buildings along the street. I guess I must have missed something about it, because when I was growing up here, my dad and I used to go to have lunch about once a week at the Milky Way Cafe, which is where the Casa Don Juan is now.
Yes.
So that's 50-some years ago. And in those days, as it was until just a few years ago, basically used furniture stores, garages, there were gas stations, tire shops, stuff like that. That's about all there was there, and I can't figure out the historical significance of it at all. It's not on anybody's register. Nobody just, there's been no campaign to put it on a register. It's just old single-story block wall construction buildings of the same height, because that was the cheapest you could do. And, I can't, nothing really about it. So I wouldn't have made you put the setback in there. But if you've agreed to live with that, then you should. The other items that have been brought up today, well, I wish, Heidi, there's a great thing that needs a cause. I don't want you to come back up. It's the Lincoln or Victory Hotel down on Main Street. That's 110 years old, and it needs a parent.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, I'll yield back to the mayor before I make my motion.
Thank you. I'd like to ask, during the construction, as you go forward, knowing that we have now got a one-way going down Commerce and one-way going up Main, whatever that cross street is, and you never can find parking except directly behind the restaurant, what is the access, what's the parking going to happen during the construction? I mean, what are we seeing there?
Mayor Jonas Cervantes for the record. So Mayor, their building actually goes up to the alley, and they've got parking today behind the alley that they bought several years ago. And so they'll have access both off of Main Street, off of Commerce to that back parking lot, and off of California, which is the east-west street. So they'll have access from 3 different sides: Commerce, California, and Main Street.
Okay. And California will continue to be 2 ways? Or
That's
is
correct.
that planned?
No, I'll continue to be 2 ways, and just recently we did angle parking in California from Main Street to Casino Center and on Colorado, just to increase the amount of parking space available out there in the area.
And are those, I know there was an issue too, about is that going to be, or has that already become metered parking down California?
It isn't today, Mayor. It's that we've got a commercial loading zone on the north side of California, but everything else is just still free parking today.
Okay, and that is the plan going forward at this point?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any plans right now to make it metered parking.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Coffin.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. This restaurant is the major draw for all the businesses around there. Everybody orients their location by how far they are and which direction from the Casa Don Juan. So this is a big deal to the business community there. So I'm sorry if the changes you agreed to make at the Planning Commission level are slowing you down, but in any event, follow through with that. And now I will move for, I guess we don't have to add that as an additional consideration, do we, Bob? It's already in the plan?
Madam Mayor, through you, Councilman, yes, the revised elevations are part of the package right now, so there's no amendments needed.
Okay, so that was approved by PC at that point. Okay.
So let's take them one at a time, if you would.
Yes, ma'am. On item 81, I now move for approval.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve agenda item 81. In a minute. Please vote and please post. Motion carries. And agenda item 82, please.
I move for approval of item 82.
Motion to approve on 82, please vote. And Councilman Coffin, there you go. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you. Assemblywoman, you are the best. We know that you always do everything with full-out earnestness, integrity, and everything else, and we love what you do. And I asked, this morning, I sent you Catherine Duncan on the Moulin Rouge, so she will be talking to you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to agenda items 83 and 84. 83, SUP 70769, a request for special use permit for hotel residence use. Number 84, SDR 70770, and a request for site development plan review, 6-story, 133-room hotel residence with a waiver to allow a building with no changes in wall plane, color, material, or relief. The applicant owner is 824 South Decatur LLC at 1208 South Main Street at 824 South Decatur Boulevard, C2 General Commercial Zone. Staff and Planning Commission recommend approval of both items. These are in Ward 1 with Councilwoman Tarkanian. Public hearing items, which I declare open. Is the applicant or representative present?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My name is Didier Eck, and I'm the project manager.
Angelo Farrugia, the owner.
Thank you. Do you need spelling? Okay, let's start with you, sir, first.
It's
Slowly.
Didier Eck, D-I-D-I-E-R. Eck is H-E-C-Q.
Thank you. And if you'll spell yours slowly, too, please.
Angelo, A-N-G-E-L-O, and the F as Frank, A-R-R-U-G-G-I-A. Thank you for your patience.
We have our own United Nations. I love this. Okay, do you want to speak to this first, and then we'll hear from the public, and then we'll turn it over to Mr. Summerfield or Mr. Lowenstein.
So we accept all the requests that, we've been asked on the previous council meeting. So
Do you want to describe, is this a building that is being renovated, torn down, or beginning anew? What we see here.
So right now it's a big parking lot for a car sale, used car sale, and basically there's a little structure in the middle that's going to be disappear and replaced with this beautiful building.
Same color as City Hall, and it's au natural. Lovely. Anything else you wanted to ask, Angelo? You want to add anything to that?
No.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak to these items, please come forward. You're lucky, nobody. Okay, public hearing is closed. Who has this one? Mr. Summerfield.
Madam Mayor, the redevelopment of the subject site will enhance Decatur Boulevard's corridor and is adequately buffered from the existing multifamily development that is to the west. Staff is recommending approval of this request, and if you have any questions, otherwise, thank you.
Okay. Anything from council? It's yours. Councilwoman, Mayor Pro Tem.
You know something, you don't sound as exciting as you really truly are. You're not doing yourself justice. I was very concerned when this application came in because I didn't want, knowing that we have to work hard in Decatur to keep things up, I didn't want to have a hotel come in that might be misused. But they not only have on the cutting edge ideas about what their building's going to look like, they also have on the cutting edge ideas about how the rentals are going. I noticed that there are many people who are saying don't use the short-term rentals of homes because we can give to you for a short term, and you said, and I believe that's in the conditions, I'm not sure, that everything will be rented for at least 1 week.
Yes, it's correct.
Okay, and that's, I'm just making sure that's in the conditions. Okay. And do you notice all that green on top of their buildings there? They're going for LEED certification, right?
The top one, the platinum.
Platinum. They're going for platinum.
Platinum, yes, they are. They're going for platinum. And they're utilizing, of course, you can see the solar, but also these are plants that they will have on there that they fit in with our valley, but it also will help as far as saving energy, as far as saving...
marijuana.
No. No marijuana. No. No.
And we worked last night on because you asked us which plan we're going to put over there, so we work on different plans.
List of the plans.
Yes. Yes.
So we made all the lists, the tree, the buffer. So
I'll tell you what, you can tell when you ask them a question, they got plenty of answers. Yes,
Yeah, we do.
yes.
We
I asked them what they might put on the roof and to show us some examples, and that's what they're showing. You notice there isn't a marijuana leaf at all.
None of them.
Okay?
Good.
But what's exciting to me is that they're coming in with a new idea of rentals, and Robin Minet and my staff gave me a article today about how there's a gentleman who's doing this throughout the United States now, and he's looking at Las Vegas. You may be just ahead of him. And what he's doing is setting together these hotels so that instead of people going into the homes that are in residential areas, it's set up so that you can do your cooking, and so that you have, as you know, you have the places where the children can play, you have the places where and they can swim, which was one of the concerns we had. We don't want to deprive visitors of that, but on the other hand, our residential districts didn't like to have strangers all the time, so we had a problem there. Well, he's answered that in what he's planning to do. He's building hotels in Los Angeles and Las Vegas and other places, and this is what you're trying to do. So that's your innovation business-wise, and your other innovation, I think, is this as far as sustainability is concerned. I think it's a marvelous thing, and I really believe that the city will be able to have sometimes people tour that so that they can see. Tell us about your buzzers. You know, if I want to have a 75-degree heat when I take a shower, what happens?
Oh, yes. This is why I didn't start to talk, because I can talk for hours. This is the story of my life. So what's happened is the main philosophy of that, this is the only way to reach LEED with not putting a lot of money in it, because usually when they say LEED is I have to put 30% on top of the cost. This is actually is cheaper, because the philosophy is to say, let's use whatever is passive energy first, and then we add whatever the regular are, like if we take the example of hot water, which is one of the most expensive part of the building, Vegas has a lot of sun. So before we start to heat the water with the water heater, let's make it heat by the sun first. And like that, with the water heater, instead of put energy from 50 degree to 90 degree, it will put the energy from 80 degree to 90 degree, which is 30% saving. So that's the whole philosophy, and it's the same, but then we want to go to the technology at the limit, at the extreme. So we have a software that we are finishing, will calculate, will allow to every customer to have some kind of as a customization without him having to work for it. The sensor will know if he likes that type of hot water, that type of fresh. So as soon as he registers, the room will be ready for him. And I can go even further than that, but it's really like that. So this building will be full of sensor, will give data for the next building, but that's but we will be proud to make an opening and invited
And where is your
everybody.
parking? Where is your parking?
All
Under the
around.
building
In
next to it?
fact, that was one of the reasons. So all our parking have a carport, like that the sun doesn't hit the car, but also on top of the carport you have a green roof. And it's made with a local plant who doesn't require too much too much water, so like that it doesn't have a lot of water use. And also you reach the requirement of the lead who says if you let a black tar of the parking, you have the gas emission, the heat emission, and thanks to the carport you don't have that because the sun doesn't heat directly the whole. So
Each
all
of those
that.
carports is a parking place, and also they will have gates that you will be able to put your little card in and be able to go in and out yourself. But what I liked was that you have a little questionnaire and you send it out to people who are going to come, and they can let you know if they like it hot or cold shower, or if they like this or that, so that when they come to the room, it's designed and fixed by all this computer stuff to be yours.
To be yours, exactly.
So thank you very much. I like your ideas, and I like the idea we're having it in the city.
Wonderful, and if you'll do it one at a time, with 83 first?
All righty, just one second.
Mayor, if I might,
Yes.
I believe the Mayor Pro Tem had an adjustment to one of the conditions that she maybe wanted to make.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just was a clarification, I think, on that, and that was, we have this technical, should I read the condition itself?
Actually, Mayor Pro Tem, through you, Mayor, I did want to clarify one thing. You had asked if there was an existing condition with regard to the length of stay. There is not. There is, in the definition of the use, it says extended stay, but we don't exactly define extended stay. So if you would like to add a condition to the special use permit, we could do that. Something along the lines of the rental period of any unit shall not be less than 1 week.
Yes, that's
So-
what they told me, yes.
And so we can add that if you'd like to the SUP, and then when we get to the SDR, we can get to the clarification on the landscaping that you had asked for.
All right, so on this part of it, on item number 83, the addition would be that we would add the condition that the no rental will be less than 1 week, 7 days.
And that's approved
It's
by
really our
you?
philosophy, is a need we believe in the city.
So I move to approve with all conditions.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve agenda item 83, subject to the 1-week minimal rental. Please vote and please post. And Councilman, and I vote? He's going to touch it. Motion carries. And on agenda item 84, please, Councilwoman.
And on agenda item 84, I had asked if we would ensure that we would have lush landscaping behind that front wall so that it would look green from the front. And that would include lush, drought-tolerant plant materials within all landscape buffers and any proposed green rooftops.
Yes.
And you showed us some examples today, and maybe you could, the planning or whoever should have a copy of those.
We made a copy actually for you today.
Yes.
So we can give that.
With planning. Do you want me to read all of 9, the technical landscape plan, or could you read that?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I don't believe, ma'am, that you'll need to read that. I do want to clarify, I think the condition that we drafted was for all landscape buffers, but if your intent is only to have the additional landscaping on the front.
No, I meant all. I
Okay.
misspoke.
So I'll read the adjustment to that, that condition for you.
Yes.
So for condition 9 of SDR 70770, we'd like to amend that condition so that at the end of that condition, it reads, no non-vegetative ground covers, and this is the addition, and to include the installation of drought-tolerant plant materials in excess of code requirements by 20% within all landscape buffers and any proposed green rooftops.
And that's adding a little bit more just to make sure we're lush green, and let me tell you, that'll look nice there, very nice.
You will love it.
And so I move to approve with all conditions.
On agenda item 84?
On 84, yes.
Thank you very much. There's a motion to approve. Please vote on 84. And that motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very
We
much.
look forward
Lots
to
of
it.
luck.
If you would give it to our city clerk right here, and they'll make sure. Thank you. Best of everything.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
See you soon.
Okay, agenda items 85 and 86. 85, ZON 71106, request for rezoning from R1 Single Family Residential to PO Professional Office. And 86, excuse me, SDR 71108, and a request for site development plan review for the conversion of a single-family residence to a 910-square-foot office building with waivers to allow a 0-foot landscape buffer along the south property line where 8 feet is required, a 0-foot landscape buffer along the east property line where 15 feet is required, and a 3-foot landscape buffer along the north and west property lines where 8 feet is required. The applicant owner is Janice Whitney and Martha Almanza on .14 acres at 1320 South Maryland Parkway, R1 single-family residential zone. Proposed to PO professional office. Staff recommends approval on approval of item 85 and denial on 86. The Planning Commission recommends approval on both items. These are in Ward 3 with Councilman Coffin, are public hearing items which I declare open. Is the applicant or representative present? And if you would, please state your name.
My name is Janice Whitney. I'm Marta Almanza, the property owners.
Thank you.
And applicants.
Okay. Do you want to make any comments to your plan right here?
No, we just pretty much here
Okay.
to get you guys.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing comments on these items? Close public hearing. Mr. Summerfield Lowenstein.
Madam Mayor, the proposed conversion is an area of the city that is already planned for small lot conversions from single-family residential to office uses. The rezoning to professional office is appropriate as the lot is located along a major arterial. The request consistent with the general plan and continues the pattern of transitional development from residential commercial along Maryland Parkway, so staff is recommending approval of the rezoning. However, there are several issues with the site and landscape plan as proposed. Due to the existing RTC bus stop in front of the property, both ingress and egress is from a single existing pan-style driveway, and circulation is one way around the lot. So, the lot such that is required on the south and east landscape buffers cannot be installed, and buffers on the sides must be reduced. The site cannot support a trash enclosure, and the narrow landscape buffers preclude the provision of landscape materials adequate for screening from the adjacent residential properties. Therefore, is recommending denial of the site development plan review. Thank you.
Where was, if I might add, the dumpster to go for trash pickup? Where was that to be on this picture?
At this point, there is no trash enclosure put forward. I imagine they will be working something out with Public Services for some type of curbside pickup. With the level of intensity of the use on the site, that may be adequate, but that is ultimately come up to the Republic Services for the servicing of the site. Just as long as adequate waste removal is presented, that would meet the criteria of the zoning code, but usually we are asking for trash enclosures.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from council? Yes, Councilman Barlow.
Thank you. What type of operation will you conduct inside the building?
Tax income services?
Tax? Say it again?
Taxes. Income services?
Okay, tax? Okay, okay. And where do you plan, or what is your plan for the trash component? Because I understand the landscape, you know, I'm familiar with the area, so the landscape, the width of the landscape, I can understand the request for the variance there, and the parking, of course, because of the smaller size of the lot size. So how do you plan to
We
work
called the
around
Republic
the trash?
Services, and they said they only do trash pickup on the curb because their trucks are too big to go inside there.
Correct.
Since we have a family residence on both sides. And the garage, they're part of the structure. Like, there's other properties like that.
They place the
they're
trash
commercial.
on the curb?
Yeah, and there's no way they can go in the back so they say they only do curb pickup for the trash.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Councilman Coffin, please.
Thank you, ma'am. There is a new program for picking up trash in that neighborhood. Are you familiar with the new program? It just started. It's a once-a-week pickup. Previously, it was twice a week. And you use the large carts, which you take to the right-of-way, which I guess would be the sidewalk. You can't put them into the Maryland Parkway. So it may be possible that could work without an enclosure if what you're doing is not cooking. You're not, providing or creating the kind of odors that I think you would find, other than whatever you print with. It's like, I think it's clean business. And in fact, there are other tax preparers on that block. The only thing I was concerned about, frankly, is the space on the west side, behind the building. You're going to leave the building the same size, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do not try to expand it in there.
No, it's so tiny,
Okay.
we can't do it.
Then there is only a 3-foot landscape buffer. I suppose it could be a quiet business, but there's a house right behind there that's a very quiet residential street, 11th Street.
Correct.
Part of Huntridge. So noise is a big problem. And I'm just thinking, working with staff, what kind of density? We have to have more than the usual density of landscaping. We need to have something that's very, very thick. It doesn't necessarily have to be trees, but can you make some suggestions today? I'd like to move this forward, but I've got to be assuaged of the problem.
Through you, Madam Mayor, as far as shrubs and low-leveling things, there's probably an existing 6-foot to 8-foot wall there, so between the 3-foot and like a 3-foot landscape buffer and trying to get a shrub to go up, usually oleander is used in that kind of capacity, but as far as a tree, Italian cypress, they could probably work in a 3-foot area, and they stay by maybe 3 by 3, and then they would shoot vertical, and you'd have to put them in a row to create a visual barrier.
Yes, they don't always look good either sometimes. I know that. Well, I think we should try to keep the specification such that we don't apply it like the 310, the tree per bush kind of ratio, which we typically do, but have something that is dense. I guess I'm willing to say that if we can just orally stipulate to some greater density for sound protection environment, would we have to take another foot to make that work better? Instead of a 3-foot setback, a 4-foot setback? Would that work with the turning radius?
Sorry, through you, Mayor, to adjust the landscape buffer depth, and you're going to push the parking spaces into the drive aisle. The drive aisle then shrinks and then doesn't meet code, so it has a ripple effect.
Okay.
I'm trying to craft a condition of something in which they can submit a revised landscape plan to the Department of Planning prior to the issuance of their building permit to try to have additional landscape materials in there to meet that criteria that you're stating.
Okay. And I don't even know which one I was addressing, 85 or 86 on that. I guess I was addressing 86. However, I will now move for approval of item 85.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve on agenda item 85. Please vote and please post. And on number 86?
Yes, Mayor. On number 86, then, move to approve with additional condition that the landscape plan be submitted prior to the final applications being approved.
Okay.
To see if we can essentially, it's subjective. I don't want you to think it's unfair. I think you can understand if you were living right behind that house, right behind your business.
Okay.
You would really want to get along with them. And there is a protest, but my backup doesn't show who that is from. That could be that neighbor that's right behind you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because there's other properties and like that on the same block, just the exact same floor plan, and none of them have any landscape because the space is so limited that we're barely going to be able to fit
Understand,
the parking
Janice.
space.
Janice, I understand that. This is going to require some delicate work here because I'm going into the blind. I don't know who protested. One person did. You had 2 supports. So we'll go ahead with that additional stipulation.
So through you, Madam Mayor, I have a proposed condition, and then Councilman, you can adjust
Would you read it
that.
into the record, please?
Sure. Thank you. A revised landscape plan shall be submitted to the Department of Planning prior to the issuance of a building permit depicting the installation of dense landscape materials to provide visual mitigation along the western property line.
Thank you very much. Is that understood and agreed to?
Yes.
Thank you, Janice, and your partner there. I'm sorry, I can't remember both names. But Mayor, Your Honor, you now have the motion with the additional stipulation as suggested by staff.
Thank you, and it's been agreed to by both of you, so
Yes.
thank you. There's a motion to approve agenda item 86. Please vote, please post. Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item 87, VAR 71077, public hearing, applicant owner Himawari 2 LLC for possible action or request for variance to allow an 8-foot-tall solid screen wall where maximum height of 5 feet with a 2-foot solid base is allowed and a 4-foot retaining wall where height of 2 feet in the front yard setback area is allowed on 1.31 acres at the northwest corner of El Parque Avenue and Cimarron Road, RE Residence Estate Zone, Ward 1, Councilwoman Tarkanian. Staff recommends denial, and planning recommends approval. This is a public hearing, which is open. Is the applicant or representative present?
That is me, Nick Bugby. Good afternoon.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Did you get his spelling, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's change this out. Let's go to Mr. Summerfield Lowenstein first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No evidence of unique or extraordinary circumstances has been presented in that the applicant has created self-imposed hardship, and therefore staff is recommending denial of the request. Thank you.
Okay. Public hearing. Anyone wishing to be heard on this item? They are flooding the microphone for you. See, we closed the public hearing. So, pardon?
Your Honor, I was just curious, is there a flooding problem or some reason why walls have to be a little bit higher in the estimation of the owner?
Do you want to answer that, please?
Yes, I'll answer that. It's more of a privacy and noise barrier from Cimarron. The full street of Cimarron from Charleston to Sahara is basically, taller walls, larger homes, and we just want to continue that same uniform of the community. It's a larger property. It's really just a privacy barrier for them.
Thank you. Okay, I've closed the public hearing, and we've heard from Mr. Lowenstein. Any other questions from staff, council, or any? No? Okay, Councilwoman, you're back in the saddle.
Could we please have these pictures shown again and tell us what they are exactly? I know what this is, but the ones that go back to the gray block wall? Okay, now is this is a neighbor's home with a 7-foot-tall wall?
Yes, ma'am. That's directly across the street from the property.
Why couldn't you go with 7 feet?
We could. We were just asking for maximum height for noise retention privacy. We're also creating a buffer, a landscape buffer with the step back. We'll have a lot of nice trees and planting, creating a nice step back there. So the wall really, long-term, won't be noticed because of the landscape buffer. These, my clients are very into landscaping. It'll be a very nice property.
Okay, could we look at the next picture? And whose wall is this?
This is the adjacent property to the west. That wall hits 12 feet in some areas.
This wall is 12 feet?
That's on El Parque. That has been there for several years. So we basically continue that same split face block. The property is at the end of that picture to the right, the dirt road. We're actually improving half-side improvements for this property as well. So we're not asking for as tall of a wall. We just like to continue the same neighborhood look.
Okay, can you pass those pictures again? Continue. And this is whose wall?
That's the property to the west. The proposed property is to the east at the right side of that photo, that dirt.
That you're going to build it on. And how many feet is this, 7?
Right there, it's about, I would say that gate's about 10 feet tall, the metal
That's
gate,
not-
so it's a
okay.
very tall wall.
All right. And could you go with some more pictures? I hadn't seen these pictures before. Okay, thank you.
Same property, just up the street.
Yeah.
That's about 8-9 feet right there.
Okay. And let's see the final pictures that showed all of that landscaping. Okay, your property's in that vacant lot right there.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and this is all across the way. All right. Can we have the next one, please? Well, okay, the next one. I think there's one that shows your planned landscaping, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Do you have that one that shows their planned landscaping with the use of the walls? Oh, that's it, yes.
Yes. There will be a lot more plants and trees in there. That was just the initial sketch.
Okay.
We have a question from Councilman Coffin,
Just
please.
a question. I was curious. I noticed that they're quite a ways away from the asphalt, and I'm thinking that must mean there's a right-of-way coming up a lot closer to the house than what you see. Is that a fact? Is that
You could
expansion of
answer
Cimarron
directly.
is possible then to considerably get closer to the house than it is right now? Well, you look at the photograph where you see a fraction of the tarmac and the asphalt, and another one, not this one, you know, the one where you see the dirt, which is good, it's country.
Right there. We're continuing the curb and gutter around there.
So you're going to complete a curb and gutter
Yes,
from where the asphalt is at this point?
correct. The asphalt will be extended to the city requirements. We're actually having the meeting at 4 p.m. with
Wait,
them.
I think I'm confused here. I think you just said the asphalt will stay, or will it move?
Curb and gutter, and then we're bringing the asphalt right to the curb and gutter.
Curb and gutter, then you'll asphalt right to the gutter.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how many more feet closer to the house will it be?
I don't have the exact dimension.
Okay. I just was curious how far the right-of-way extends toward the houses.
Further down, if you look at the right side of the property, we actually have there's a curb and gutter going around Oki and Cimarron. We don't have a good site photo. I don't know if you guys have Google Earth available, but I could explain it further. The curb and gutter stops right before our property line, and so we're going to continue that around and finish El Parque as well.
Okay. This is just a teachable moment for me. I'm going to support whatever the councilwoman says.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
I'm
Councilwoman.
going to move to approve with the 20% additional landscaping.
To which you agree.
Yes.
You would agree to that?
Okay, there's a motion to approve agenda item 87. Please vote, and then post, please. Done.
Thank you for your time.
luck.
Have a great afternoon.
Beautiful home across the street. Oh,
Beautiful
there's
homes
6
all over
50.
there, huh?
Beautiful, wow. Okay, agenda item 88, RQR 69722, public hearing, applicant Lamar Central Outdoor LLC, owner TLC Properties, Inc., for possible action or required review of an approved special use permit U-0033-88 for an existing 60-foot tall, 14-foot by 48-foot off-premise sign at 650 East Bonanza Road, C2, General Commercial Zone, Ward 5, Councilman Barlow. It's a public hearing. I declare it open. Is the applicant or representative present? Hello and welcome back. Why are you, there you are. You want to do that one more time?
Better?
Scott, please.
Scott Nasker with Lamar Advertising. We accept all staff's conditions and ask for your approval.
Thank you very much. Public hearing. Anyone wishing to be heard on this item? Closing public hearing. Mr. Lowenstein.
Madam Mayor, this is the fourth review of the special use permit. Conditions in the surrounding location have not changed since the off-premise sign was approved, and the continued use sign will not have a negative effect on the surrounding adjacent uses.
Thank
I
you.
will recommend approval.
Any
Thank you.
comments, council? Yours, Mr. Ricky Barlow, councilman from Ward 5.
Thank you, Mayor. Question for staff. Our review of conditions as well as required review, do they fall under, or can they fall under one motion, one vote?
Required reviews can, and review of conditions technically usually don't, but they also could, yes.
Okay, what's the trigger as to when they do and when they don't?
Items that are all in order with a recommendation of approval will be placed on 1+1 if and especially at the council level, if the council office sees no issue that further discussions needed on it. So we'll place it on one motion, one vote. On review of conditions, if it is something that is supported, then it could be placed on the one motion, vote as well. But if it's in a denial stage, it is heard as a public hearing item.
Okay. My motion will be for approval, subject to all conditions.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve agenda item 88. Please vote and please post. And so it shall be. It is passed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And agenda item AD 990 have been obeyed till 18th of October, so we'll move on to 91. ROC 71047, public hearing, applicant Clear Channel Outdoor, owner U-Haul Real Estate Company, for possible action review condition to remove conditions number 5 and 9 of an approved special use permit, SUP 12936, which state, only one advertising sign is permitted per sign face, and there shall be no reader board, nor shall the static board be replaced with LED at 2021 West Bonanza Road. C2 General Commercial Zone, Ward 5, Councilman Barlow. Public hearing, I declare it open. Is the applicant or representative present?
Yes, Your Honor. Lonnie Jones with Clear Channel Outdoor. I am here today asking for the council's approval to remove the conditions that currently prohibit us to convert the existing billboard to digital.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Is anyone here on this particular item? Please come forward. I'll close public hearing. Mr. Lowenstein.
Madam Mayor, staff supports the conditions of approval placed upon by the City Council and therefore recommends denial of the proposed review of condition. Thank you.
Okay, any staff comments? I don't know what you're going to say, but certainly every board in town is digital now.
Right. Help me understand the reason for the denial.
These original conditions of approval were placed on by the council, and staff is in support of the council's decision.
Oh, from 96?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Yes, I was a liaison during that period of time. I went out and I looked at the site. There is a digital sign that is just right outside of the distance separation of this particular sign on US 95. And so looking at it, it is a well-kept sign, and I don't see any issue with it being converted. So what I'm going to do is remove, I believe, condition number 5 and 6 is what the proposal, I'm sorry, 5 and 9.
5 and 9.
5 and 9. Conditions 5 and 9, I will remove those two. And moving forward, what must they do in order to comply with the standards of the digital billboards today within our sign code?
Through you, Madam Mayor, they would be submitting probably an administrative site review for the conversion to an LED board after these conditions are removed. That review would be done administratively through the planning department, and your office would also be noticed on when that conversion will come in.
Okay. All right.
Yes, a comment before you move, if you would.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Coffin, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Councilman Barlow. I want to make sure we don't run into a problem. I foresee it coming in removing that provision about the static board not to be replaced with LED. That is before that was placed in. Yes, LED existed, but it wasn't the rapidly moving, now high-quality, high-density LED we have. So we've been having a discussion, it's kind of a dispute, but we're working out the kinks, Mayor, on moving pictures, essentially, on slow-speed streets like 25 and 30 seem to be okay because people don't move at a rapid rate of speed. And so, because there is an element of distraction, that's why they move. But now you've got West Bonanza, which is 35 or 40. So we will have to consider that coming up. We might even discuss, as an overall, the staff would help us, an overall speed kind of requirement, maybe depending on the speed of automobiles, because it's an element. It's probably a straight line, the speed of the LED movement versus the speed of the cars.
One thing that I would like to point out through you, Mayor, Councilman Coffin, is that this board actually sits right along the US 95. Although the address is Bonanza, it sits on the US 95 freeway.
Oh, okay. There must be limitations of some kind. I'm not familiar with them.
Mayor, may I comment?
Councilwoman, please.
So, as I drive 70 miles down 95 and see these digital billboards, I ain't distracted. Just saying.
Because you have a chauffeur.
She has a sofa.
I have a question, if I might, Councilman Barlow, before you move on this. Generally, in your occupation of these signs, a stationary sign is generally with a, stabilized one advertisement. What does that cost a month?
Oh, that's a little bit out of my realm. I couldn't tell you that. I could get more information and get back with you, but.
No, I'm just curious, as a general rules, at around 1,500, something like that. And now that we've moved to the digital, what are those for the snippet of time? I mean, more than 1,500 for a,
I would think it's a little bit less because what they do is they put them on a rotation.
so it costs, I'd be really curious. I mean, I don't want to, compare, but just the general rule of what the billboard companies are doing, and are they going entirely away from the stationary one sign like that one that you had there?
Absolutely not, absolutely not. What we refer to as static, we now refer to as printed, has its place in the market, and that won't be going anywhere anytime soon, and probably not in my lifetime. Digital allows a little bit more of a reach, depending on the area, target advertisers, what we're looking for, and whatnot. Traffic counts is where those units would be placed.
And digitally and generally, do both sides of a billboard digitally carry the same message on both sides? I know certainly on the paper or the wraps, they sometimes are different.
They can, generally, most of the time, no, but it could happen. One advertiser, just between how it's sold and when it rotates between copy, they may.
What a different world. I should ask everybody that's run for office. They probably know. Fortunately, I don't have to do that for a couple of years. Yeah. Oh, I could ask. Did Councilman Soroka, did you use billboards in your campaign? Couldn't afford it, eh?
I was low man on the totem pole of finance.
Councilwoman?
I'm selfish. I don't like sharing my billboards, so I don't like digital. I like paper, and I like my advertisement only. If I'm paying for it, I ain't sharing.
Oh, wow. Okay, you answered my question. Councilman Barlow, take it on, please.
I'll move to remove condition number 5 and 9, and staff will address everything from this point moving forward administratively. That's my motion.
Thank you. That's a motion. Please vote. And does that mean for all billboards around town in the city? 5 and 9 go off, or is it just for him?
It's just for this location only.
Okay. Your motion passes. You're into the digital world.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think we're going to have to have a discussion, and that's one reason.
Yeah, that's very important. Should we direct or ask staff?
I think they're working.
Are you?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, we are working on that right now.
Who's calling? Who is that? It sounded like Tom Perigo over there.
It sounded like it came from this direction.
Okay, so what was the answer?
Madam Mayor, yes, we are working on looking at national standards for animation of signs at different speeds on roadways and in specific areas where they would be beneficial.
Wonderful. I love that. Animation on the billboards. Wow.
Madam Mayor?
Okay, yes.
Could I also ask, could planning look into what we are getting paid for the cell towers or places that we're letting billboards come, the property belongs to the city?
Oh,
I'd just like to know that. For example, there's a cell tower at Baskin Park. It was put in there some time ago. I know that the prices have increased for those cell towers. I'm just wondering what we're getting. If staff could just check that which the city owns, what money are we getting for them?
When you got one by the hospital, too.
And by the hospital. There's other ones,
Your
yes.
favorite trees.
Yes. My favorite trees.
Through you, Madam Mayor, we will get that information to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we are down to 92, set the date on any appeals filed and required public hearings. I'd instruct the city clerk to set the public hearing dates and appeals from the city planning commission meetings, dangerous buildings, or nuisance litter abatements.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we will move on to 93, our second or third or fourth citizen participation public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the city council. No subject may be acted upon by the city council unless the subject's on the agenda and scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come to the podium, give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. This is your opportunity to address the council, but the council is not able to respond or engage in dialogue. Any members of the public who wish to speak under this portion of the agenda, please state your name. Good afternoon.
Hello, hi, good afternoon, Madam Mayor and City Council. My name is Timothy Eliato, and I just, my hair is gone, sorry. I just came to say basically thank you to the City of Las Vegas for going blue on September 9th to help raise awareness to Pain Awareness Month, which is in September, and also give a little bit of highlight to also Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month also. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for coming back to see us. Appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 94. And council member recognition. Comments made by individual city council members during this portion of the agenda will not be acted upon by the city council unless the subject's on the agenda and scheduled for action. Is there any member of the council who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda? Okay, we are going to start this time. I think I started with Mr. Councilman Soroka before. Oh my gosh, shame on me. To the distaff, I'm going to go to the right this time. You will start.
Thank you, Mayor, for starting on the right side of the table today. Thank you so much. Councilman Steve Soroka, Ward 2. We have a big event. We have the mayor joining us out in Ward 2. The mayor, Coffee with the Mayor, next Wednesday, September 27th, at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf across from Costco. Please come out and chat with the mayor and your local councilman. Then on Thursday, October 11th, we have a Veteran Services Fair at 441 East Bonanza Avenue at the Dula Gymnasium. We will have VA enrollment, VA benefits, VA vision, VA dental, screening, and Job Connect will be there. Please join us at the Veteran Services Fair Thursday, October 11th. Following that, we have the Trunk or Treat October 14th in the parking lot of Palo Verde High School right next to the Veterans Memorial Center. That will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please come out and join us, and I look forward to meeting all the children, and you can go to the website to find where to register. Then on November 4th, we have the Ward 2 shredding event, where you can bring your retired documents and join me in shredding them on Saturday, November 4th, at the same location at the Veterans Memorial Services Center at 101 North Pavilion Center Drive. And finally, we have Ward 2 social media. As always, you can stay informed with events and matters happening in Ward 2 by following me on Twitter at Steve Soroka and on Facebook. If you would like to receive the Ward 2 newsletter, please visit the Ward 2 website and send your email address, or you may call my office at 702-229-2144. Thank you. That's Ward 2, Councilman Steve Soroka.
Colonel Steve Soroka. Thank you.
Retired Colonel, thank you.
Yes. Thank you for your service to our country. And now we go to thanking our service, law enforcement service, to Councilman Anthony.
Thank you, Mayor. There we go. We're going to have a national night out Tuesday, October 3rd. It's being sponsored by myself, Councilwoman Fior, and Commissioner Larry Brown, also with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. So if you come out to Mountain Crest Park on Tuesday, October 3rd from 5:30 to 7:30, we'll have lots of police officers there and firefighters and members of our own public safety, city marshals, and we'll have a night where the community can talk to their law enforcement community and let them know the issues in their neighborhood and get some public safety demonstrations. We will have food and games and lots of stuff to do, but again, the most important thing is come out and talk to your public safety community and make sure you have a safe and a great neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Councilwoman, Mayor Pro Tem, go.
I think that's great about the National Night Out, Councilman. The Ward 1 Council Office is hosting a free movie in the park on Friday, September 29th, beginning at dusk. We'll be showing Disney's Beauty and the Beast at Woofter Family Park, which is located on the northwest corner of Vegas Drive and Rock Springs at 1600 Rock Springs Drive. We'll have free popcorn and water for our two-legged friends, and we will have free dog biscuits and water for our four-legged friends while the supplies last. Woofter Park has a lot of dog owners, and so we hope you'll come and bring your dogs with you. Please bring blankets or low-back chairs, since seating is on the grass. And for more information, call Ward 1 Council Office at 702-229-6405. On September 22nd to the 29th, we are having Falls Prevention Awareness Week. A fear of falling is a very real fear for many older adults. Once you get past 50 or 60 years of age, you have to be very careful. Falls are the #1 cause of injury-related death, as well as injury-related emergency department visits. And we have free fall risk assessments available at various locations, including 2 in Ward 1. The Southern Nevada Health District at 280 South Decatur Boulevard is hosting an event on Friday, September 22nd from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And the UMC Healthy Living Institute at 901 Rancho Lane, Suite 180, is hosting an event on Monday, September 25th from 10 a.m. to noon. For more information, please call the UMC Healthy Living Institute at 702-383-7353 or the Southern Nevada Health District at 702-759-1268. The CDC reports that 800,000 people are hospitalized each year due to a fall-related injury, and mostly due to a head injury or a hip fracture which comes to the fall. And most falls are caused by a combination of risk factors, including lower body weakness, difficulties with balance and walking, medication, vision problems, foot pain, home hazards like throw rugs and clutter, and a vitamin D deficiency. Older adults, and we have many senior citizen homes in our area, older adults are encouraged to discuss the risk of falling with their health care providers. Now, for the next 12 weeks, there will be construction of new roadway improvements to Washington Avenue between Rainbow and Decatur. Work hours will be 7 to 4, Monday through Friday. Traffic will generally be restricted to only one lane in each direction on Washington. Preliminary work was completed this spring and consisted of improvements to sidewalk areas to meet the Federal Americans with Disability Act requirements, and Southwest Gas and Las Vegas Valley Water District worked on the improvements. The current work consists of full depth removal and reconstruction of deteriorated areas of pavement. And you know, I think we should be very proud of our roads and what the people who work in our city do, because as I go down Maryland Parkway sometimes, it's a rough ride, and I think to myself, I haven't ridden on any road in the city that's that bad, and that's one of their major roads. So vehicle lanes will be reconfigured, remember, on Washington Avenue. Bicycle lanes will be installed on Washington Avenue on its completion. For more information about Ward 1, please tune in to KCLV's Access City Council program. Our next program filming is Thursday, September 28th at 5:30 p.m. It's a half-hour program that provides each of the council members an opportunity every 6 weeks to share the latest information about their ward. And in addition to Ward 1 updates, I've tried to have one or more guests who can provide details about critical subjects. And our next session will have a special guest, Clark County School District Police Officer Chief James Kalsa, and he will discuss school safety with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Okay, Councilman Barlow.
Thank you, Mayor. Taking place at the Doolittle Senior Center is the Masquerade Senior Prom, September 23rd. The Doolittle Senior Center will host their annual Masquerade Senior Prom on Saturday, September 23rd, 2017. There will be food, entertainment, giveaways, and of course, crowning of the 2017 King and Queen. You are invited to dress for the red carpet, so join the seniors here at the Doolittle Senior Center on the runway. For more information, you may contact them at 229-6125. The Democracy Prep, if you want to know how your child is doing in school, at Democracy Prep, on the campus of Andre Agassi campus located at 1201 Westlake Mead Boulevard, you are invited for breakfast to hear information regarding school performance for the new Nevada. Superintendent Dr. Steve Canavero will be in attendance to answer any questions you may have. For more information, please contact 229-5423. The Community Spectacular Carnival will be taking place on October 26th as well at the Doolittle Community Center. Thursday, October 26th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. There will be games, movies, snacks, and a jump house, and of course, tricks and treats while supplies last. There will be a costume contest for the best dressed family, most original, scariest, and most creative. So for more information on the Community Spooktacular Carnival, please contact 229-6374. At the Municipal Pool, Halloween at the Pool event. On October 28th, the Municipal Pool at Dula, located at 431 East Bonanza Road, will host a Halloween at the Pool event with witches, wizards, and water on Saturday, October 28th from 12 noon to 5 p.m. Join in the fun for good music, fun, games, crafts, and more. For more information, please contact 229-6309. Strong Start Academies, the City of Las Vegas is investing in early childhood education sites to help expand access to high-quality learning services that will increase students' achievement in the schools and beyond. 2 Strong Start Academy pre-K facilities have opened for the 2017-2018 school year. The Strong Start Academies offer a nurturing and educational program that endures the optimal physical, social, and emotional, as well as intellectual development of each enrolled child. Enrollment is open for children ages 6 weeks to 5 years old. For more information, please call 387-0179 or 647-4907. The next Coffee with the Councilman will be October 5th, so please join me for the next Coffee with the Councilman at Starbucks for conversation regarding the community, your business, or neighborhood issues. I will be at the Starbucks located at 1925 North Martin Luther King Drive at the corner of Lake Mead from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. For more information, feel free to contact my office at 229-5443. The historic Westside School, located at Washington and D Street, has professional office space, retail, and a cafe space for anyone looking for an opportunity to move their business or expand their business. Please consider the historic and newly renovated Westside School. A multi-million-dollar renovation and upgrade includes a modern office space, while the exterior has been carefully restored. So please contact Julie Quisenberry in our Office of Economic and Urban Development at 229-6551 for more information. And as always, you can stay informed with events and matters happening in and around Ward 5 by following me on Twitter, Facebook, as well as other social media platforms. If you would like to receive the Ward 5 newsletter, please visit my website at www.lasvegasnevada.gov/Ward5 or send me an email or just contact my office at 229-5443. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Boy, that's a lot. Busy.
Busy.
Okay,
Into
Councilor,
October.
take us out to Ward 6 where everything is exploding with growth.
So we're going to just talk about what is upcoming in the near future, and I'm excited about our National Night Out with our City Councilman Stavros Anthony and our Commissioner Larry Brown on October 3rd from 5:30 to 7 p.m. We're going to have fun and games and public safety demonstrations and food, and that's going to be October 3rd, 5:30 to 7 p.m. And then we have our movies in the park on Friday the 13th. So October 13th, about 7 p.m., we're going to be showing Casper, and we're also partnering up with AMR. They're going to bring a lot of treats so we can have a little Halloween candy with our Casper movie. And we're also going to have a special guest that night. We're going to have Sharon from the farm bring some of her farm animals as well. So Friday the 13th is going to be a lot of fun. And then Mondays with Michelle, October 9th, which is in our Northwest office at the YMCA, from noon to 6 p.m. Of course, we have food and drinks there as well, and we will be there on Monday, October 9th at noon at the YMCA in the Northwest. I'll be traveling to Washington, D.C., September 25th through the 28th, working towards building relationships with the BLM and other federal agencies to free up our land in Ward 6. And we're contactable. Just call our offices. If you want to go to our website here at lasvegasnevada.gov and go to Ward 6 and sign up for our newsletters, we have so much to tell you. And I'll end with saying hi to my mom. She's watching. She's texting. Yep. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
And so thank you. You created a wonderful lady. Anyway, so it's my turn. And look at that wonderful picture of our congressman from the north, your buddy, who you'll see when you're back there, I know. Okay, moving this right along, I did go to a meeting over behind Wholesome Lofts, I guess it is, with our Project Neon superintendents, workers, everybody. And boy, they've done a great job and no recorded accidents. And we're almost halfway through Project Neon, right? We're like at 45%. So how exciting. I mean, we're just so thrilled. They work so hard. So when you see these workmen, give them a wave and thank them, please. They really just, you know, they're out there all day doing whatever they do and into the night on some of their details. I think Councilman, our Colonel Steve Soroka mentioned that I'm going to be with him in Ward 2 on September 27th. This weekend is Life is Beautiful downtown from Friday the 22nd through Sunday the 24th. And I've heard from Metro, and hopefully it will continue. It's just been such a great event for them and for us, that the people are so nice, polite, cordial, and just having a great old time, and none of the problems that we seem to have, you know, with, I won't even mention anything that's very large that has a younger crowd, but this is a crowd for all ages, all people that have a lovely, lovely time downtown. And just be careful, look ahead to see what's closed off, but it really, lifeisbeautiful.com. And while you're downtown, jump on our downtown free loop, which is a circulator that takes us around from the Bonneville bus RTC station to the premium outlets, all around downtown to our Mob Museum, and walking distance to our Neon Boneyard and the Natural History Museum. So much to do and see, and we're just excited. And for those of us, there's only one of us happens to be Jewish, and tonight is Erev Rosh Hashanah, which is the beginning of the Jewish New Year. And so that will go on through the 30th of September, but I wish everybody, the Jewish faith, a meaningful and sweet year. And our next City Council meeting is Wednesday, October 4th in these chambers. And as always, thank you, IT. Thank you, Jeff, if you're still alive and back there, and your team. Is there anybody from your team that's there? No, they're not left. They may be over there. But certainly our staff, thank you very, very much. And law enforcement, our marshals, thank you very much. Oh, look at that. We still have our bookends. They're alive and well. And certainly Scott Adams, thank you. You have selected a phenomenal team. And I was so excited to get the business cards from Mr. Perigo and Mr.
Yes.
Arndt. And they are first class. I don't know if you can zero in on these, but we
great.
in the council are so proud to see, oh my gosh, these would fly anywhere in the world. So if you're going to Washington, make sure you take them with you. Have a safe trip, and our clerk, of course, and your staff. I mean, my gosh, the best there is. There's no better place, and thank you, council persons, one and all. Thank you, and we will see you on my sister's wedding anniversary, October 4th.
Oh, gosh, you remember
Thank you.
the wedding anniversary. That's wonderful.